Chapter 677. The Angered Mystic Supremacy 2. Then what are you betting on? Hurry up and cook. Let's rest after dinner so that the fish can take the bait, Lung Ruashua said with a slightly smug smile. Miss, it's only noon. Feng De reminded speechlessly. They had stayed in the tent for almost a day yesterday, so should they return to their rooms early to sleep today? What about noon? Can't I take an afternoon nap and a night nap together? Lung Ruashua asked aggrievedly. Okay. Feng De said hurriedly. Alas, who would dare to not let Miss sleep? Then quickly go and cook. Am a little hungry, Lung Ruashua ordered. Yes, Feng De answered. Then he led Lin Yuan and the others to prepare food. Lung Ruashua and the others found their own rooms to rest after lunch. Late at night was the time when the moon was dark and the wind was strong, suitable for investigation. A black shadow quietly sneaked into the peony garden where Lung Ruashua and the others were staying. After sneaking into the pitch-black main room and coming to the bed, the black shadow took out an incomparably sharp, cold, and intimidating saber from its ring and gathered a trace of mystic energy to directly stab at the person on the bed and stabbed several times with hatred. The man in black stopped in surprise when the room lit up. When he turned back, he saw everyone standing behind him and looked at the bed in disbelief. Miss Wu must be exhausted, Lung Ruashua said with concern. No, this is impossible. Weren't you sleeping on the bed? Wu Qin'er widened her eyes and questioned. She had sent her trusted aide to investigate thoroughly, but Lung Ruashua appeared behind her now. How could she accept this? It's just a pillow sleeping on the bed, Lung Ruashua reminded. What? Wu Qin'er didn't believe it. She hurriedly lifted the blanket and saw that a pillow had indeed been pierced by her. Now you believe me. Lung Ruashua sighed softly and said sympathetically. How did you know I would come? No matter how stupid Wu Qin'er was, she knew that she had been discovered long ago. However, she was really unwilling. Her father refused to take revenge for her and said that Lung Ruashua was useful. However, she didn't believe it at all. Don't think she didn't know that her father obviously took a liking to her beauty and wanted to take it for himself. He even lied to her. We smelled your smell before we entered Peony Garden, Feng De reminded with a naughty smile. Alas, you have to cover your smell even if you want to do something bad. What smell? I don't have any smell. Wu Qin'er immediately exploded when she heard Feng De. Of course it stink. It stinks for hundreds of miles. Of course, you usually can't smell it yourself. Feng De explained. No, I don't stink. Damn it, I don't stink. Wu Qin'er roared irrationally. She raised the saber in her hand crazily and stabbed at Lung Ruashua fiercely. She wanted to kill this woman. Swish! A white light passed through Wu Qin'er's body. With a bang, Wu Qin'er fell to the ground. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Lung Ruashua looked at the dagger stabbed into the wall, then at everyone and whispered, I'm just defending myself. Yes, self-defense. Everyone hurriedly echoed. However, the freak pouted with dissatisfaction and looked at Lung Ruashua with slight complaint. Swear, you don't need to defend yourself. They'll protect you. He originally wanted to attack, but Schwerer didn't give him the chance. Boo-hoo. I was wrong. That was just my instinct, Lung Ruashua said aggrievedly. Miss, your dagger. At this moment, Lin Yuan had already pulled out the knife from the wall and returned it to Lung Ruashua. Thank you. Lung Ruashua released a trace of water mystic energy from her fingertips, washed the dagger, and then stored it in her storage ring. Miss, what should we do with Wu Qin'er? Feng De asked. Wu Qin'er should be dead. However, he didn't know if Miss wanted to destroy the corpse or hand it to Wu Ming. To Wu Ming, of course. Ask the guards at the entrance to the yard to invite Wu Ming over. Tell him there are assassins, but they've been killed, Lung Ruashua said with a naughty smile. Okay, Feng De replied, and then happily went to inform the guards. After a while, Wu Ming, who received the report, came to Peony Garden like his butt was on fire. He looked at the man in black lying on the ground, cold sweat breaking out on his body, and his heart turned cold. Alas, it was indeed Qin'er. Why was his daughter disobedient? Great, she was killed now, but he was helpless. What? Does Patriarch Wu know this assassin? Long Ruoxue sat in a chair, held a cup of tea, and took a sip. No. Wu Ming was very depressed, but he had to deny it at this time. Feng De, take off the veil on his face and let Miss see who this person is? Long Ruoxue ordered lightly. She really didn't expect Wu Ming to be ruthless enough to disown his daughter's corpse. Alas, he was really heartless to do this. Yes, Feng De quickly answered and walked directly to Wu Chen'er's side. He was about to do as his young miss said, but was stopped by Wu Ming. Wait, Miss Long. Leave this to me. I'll give Miss Long an explanation, Wu Ming hurriedly said. What explanation does the Wu family head want to give me? I'm a guest of the Wu family since I live here, but your Wu family actually sent people to assassinate me. Fortunately, I'm alert. Otherwise, I would be the one lying on the ground now. Long Ruoxue's face became stern, and she said very displeased. This person isn't from the Wu family, but I will give Miss Long a satisfactory explanation. Miss Long can be at ease. Wu Ming suppressed the anger in his heart and said, he just needed 2 more days. In that case, give me some time, Patriarch Wu. I can't wait endlessly. Long Ruoxue raised her beautiful eyes and said coldly, I will definitely satisfy Miss Long in 2 days, Wu Ming promised. Then he ordered someone to carry the corpse of the man in black out of Peony Garden. Chapter 678. The Angered Mystic Supremacy 3. Miss, what is Wu Ming doing? Why do you want us to wait for 2 days? Feng De asked in puzzlement after Wu Ming left. You'll know when the time comes. Long Ruoxue smiled evilly and kept them in suspense. Well, Wu Ming was waiting for someone, and she was also waiting for a big fish, so let the Wu family live for 2 more days for the time being. 2 days passed quickly. Long Ruoxue and the others had been living comfortably these 2 days because no one came to disturb them. However, Wu Ming was not so comfortable. His daughter was dead, but he didn't dare to let others know. He even had to give an explanation to the enemy who killed his daughter. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood when he thought of this. Alas, but Long Ruoxue was useful to him. Otherwise, he would have pinned that woman down and imprisoned her for him to vent. In the garden of the main courtyard, Wu Ming was looking at the colorful flowers in front of him with a gloomy face, a little lost in thought. Patriarch, the people over there have arrived. The head butler walked to Wu Ming's side and whispered. The patriarch had been in a very bad mood these 2 days. So many servants didn't dare to approach the main mansion, and he, the head butler, couldn't avoid it. Please. Wu Ming looked up and hurriedly said. The people over there had finally arrived. There's no need to invite us. We're already here. A gloomy voice sounded from behind Wu Ming. Wu Ming turned around and saw 2 middle-aged men in black standing behind him. These 2 people might have ordinary looks, but their strength was unfathomable. They were already standing behind him, but he actually didn't realize it. One had to know that he was a mystic sovereign. Seniors, you've worked hard. Wu Ming hurriedly cupped his hands and bowed. There's no need to be so polite. Where is he? We left after picking him up, a man in black said. At Peony Garden. However, there are many people there. Moreover, I can't tell their strength, Wu Ming explained. It's okay. We don't care how many people there are, another man in black said arrogantly. They were both mystic supremacies. Even if the other party was also a mystic supremacy, there was only one, so they were not afraid. One of Long Ruoxue's subordinates is an alchemist, so they have a good relationship with the Alchemist Association, Wu Ming reminded them, muttering in his heart. You're not afraid of the Alchemist Association, but he can't not care. What's the big deal with the Alchemist Association? You don't have to take it to heart. As long as our old ancestor is satisfied, he might destroy the Alchemist Association if he's happy. The man in black said cockily. Do you mean to bring people away now? Wu Ming asked carefully. Of course. The old ancestor is still waiting, the man in black said matter-of-factly. He had never seen the painting that Wu Ming offered, but a beauty that the old ancestor valued so much must be a stunning beauty. But as far as I know, Long Ruoxue has a fiery character. I'm afraid she won't leave with the 2 seniors willingly. Wu Ming revealed his worries. Alas, he could only do so for the Wu family's future, even though he was a little reluctant. It's okay. We have our ways. The two men in black looked at each other and smiled confidently. That's good. I'll bring the two seniors to Peony Garden now, Wu Ming said ingratiatingly. Hee, hugging the Sun family's thigh. Their Wu family would absolutely be able to suppress the Guan Yu family in the boundless heaven continent in the future. His mood immediately improved when he thought of this. What was the pain of losing a daughter? How many children would he not have in the future with his age? Moreover, Wu Qin'er was not his only child. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Okay. The two of them nodded and followed Wu Ming to Peony Garden. However, the two of them didn't enter directly. One of them even took out a withered branch from his ring, lit it with fire, and threw it into Peony Garden. Seniors, this is? Wu Ming asked curiously. You shouldn't know. Don't ask too much. A man in black reprimanded with slight dissatisfaction. Yes. Wu Ming immediately became well-behaved and stopped talking after being scolded. Two men in black strode into the yard after the dry branch burned up. They looked at the people lying on the ground in the yard and went straight for their target. After all, there was only one woman in the yard, which was very easy to recognize. She's indeed a rare beauty, the two men in black praised with amazement. Hee, it's good that the two seniors are satisfied, Wu Ming said with a charming smile, his face full of flattery. Bullshit. What's the use of us being satisfied? This is the woman the old ancestor likes. The two of them roared very displeased. Yes, it's good that old ancestor is satisfied. Wu Ming quickly corrected himself. Well, he didn't expect that the inconspicuous dried branch to be so useful. It was really too magical. This is the reward the old ancestor gave you. A man in black threw a storage ring over. Thank you, old ancestor. Thank you, seniors. Wu Ming took the ring and sent his divine sense in slightly. He said happily after seeing the things inside. Our Sun family will not treat you badly as long as you are loyal, the man in black said. Yes, senior. What should we do with the others? Wu Ming asked again. We'll give the others to you, a man in black said generously. They only had this woman as their target, and they were not interested in the others. With that, a man in black summoned his beast and placed Lung Ruoxue on it. The two of them left martial Immortal City. In the sky, Lung Ruoxue slowly opened her beautiful eyes and looked at the man in black not far away. She said calmly, Where is this place? You're awake? A man in black said in surprise. This shouldn't be the case. How did this woman wake up so quickly? Isn't it obvious? Lung Ruoxue looked at the man in black like he was an idiot. Stay here obediently since you're awake, another man in black said. It's okay even if you're awake. How can a mere mystic monarch turn the situation around? Chapter 679. The Angered Mystic's Supremacy, 4. But I don't want to stay here obediently. Lung Ruoxue smiled evilly, her naughty little hands quickly pulling the feathers of the beast below her butt. The black eagle-type transcendent divine beast screamed in pain as its huge body shook nonstop. Your beasts can't fly steadily enough, Lung Ruoxue said with some dissatisfaction. Stop it. One of the men in black couldn't bear it anymore and roared. Damn it. This was his beast. He usually treasured it very much, but who knew that in just a short while, several large feathers on his beast's back had become bald. How dare you shout at me? Lung Ruoxue said with tears in her eyes. Her aggrieved appearance was so pitiful that it made one's heart ache. Forget it. It's not a big deal, another man in black said nonchalantly while standing. It was not his beast anyway, so of course his heart didn't ache. Instead, he felt a little heartache for this beauty. That's right. I like grilled chicken the most, and am especially good at plucking feathers, Lung Ruoxue said proudly. Then a small flame suddenly jumped out of her fair finger. What do you want? A man in black asked fearfully as he felt the temperature of the flame. Eat grilled chicken. Lung Ruoxue threw the small flame at the unlucky beast after speaking. Then she let the little peacock out and jumped lightly onto its back. Ah, master, save me. The poor eagle screamed in pain. The owner of the beast hurriedly released his water tribute mystic energy when he heard the cry for help, wanting to help his beast put out the fire. However, not only did his water fail to put out the fire, it even played a supporting role. Damn it, what kind of flame was this? He was a little dumbfounded, and it only took a few minutes before his beast passed away. Damn it, you actually killed my contract beast. Two men in black floated in the air. One of them had a pained face and gritted his teeth. Boo-hoo. This beast was the highest level among his beasts, but it actually died just like that. He really couldn't take this lying down. Calm down. She's someone the old ancestor likes, another man in black reminded. His pair of searchlight-like eyes kept looking Long Ruashua up and down. This woman was really unexpected. Moreover, what kind of flame was she? The temperature was so high. She actually killed a level 6 transcendent divine beast in just a few minutes. It was really too terrifying. I know. The man in black glared at Long Ruashua fiercely, his face full of unwillingness and hatred. However, he knew that now was not the time to kill Long Ruashua. He would not let this woman go when the old ancestor didn't want her. Don't calm down. Hurry up and explode. I'm embarrassed to attack first if you're not angry, Long Ruashua said aggrievedly, her beautiful eyes full of accusation. Damn it. The owner of the beast roared uncontrollably and released the might of a mystic supremacy. He was now very sure that this woman did it on purpose. Since she dared to provoke him, let this woman compensate him for his strength. Of course, he would not kill Long Ruashua. Is this all a mystic supremacy can do? Long Ruashua continued to provoke fearlessly. Qingju's defense was really good. This mystic supremacy level pressure posed no threat to her at all. You're courting death. The beast master roared furiously and then launched an attack directly at Long Ruashua. Fighting is too barbaric. I don't like fighting. Long Ruashua's figure moved slightly and easily dodged the attack. Then, with a thought, she moved Empty, Icy, the freak, and the little old man out of the bracelet to be her helpers. Icy jumped directly into her arms as soon as it emerged. Haha, Schwer, take a rest at the side. Leave these two to me and the little old man, Empty said happily. These were two mystic supremacies. They could exercise their bodies. Lass, I haven't exercised for a long time, the little old man said eagerly, rubbing his palms together. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Calm thanks. Alas, I shouldn't have let you out. Long Ruashua looked at the little old man, who was also floating in the air, and said helplessly. It seemed like she had nothing to do now. Schwer, let's just watch the battle honestly. The freak jumped onto the little peacock's back and hugged Long Ruashua. In the space just now, Empty and the little old man had said that these two people were theirs. They were in a hurry to snatch them, and even Icy couldn't snatch them. Yes, that's the only way. Long Ruashua nodded slightly. At this moment, Empty and the little old man had already begun fighting with the men in black. Didn't you say that you're not afraid no matter how many people there are? There are only two of us now. One-on-one, it's absolutely fair. The green mystic energy in Empty's hand was released as if it was free, causing the men in black fighting him to dodge left and right in a sorry state. Damn it, why was this person's strength so strong? The man in black who was not fighting couldn't help cursing, but he didn't dare to be distracted in the slightest. However, what made him vomit blood even more was that this person's mystic energy didn't seem to have been exhausted. It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. Didn't you say you wanted to destroy the Alchemist Association? Let's see who will destroy who first. At this moment, the little old man roared very furiously. This person actually dared to have designs on the Alchemist Association. He absolutely couldn't stay. Thinking of this, he also imitated Long Ruashua and released several fiery red mystic techniques consecutively to attack the black-clothed person. However, he couldn't release mystic techniques nonstop like Schwer. After every cast, he needed to take a pill to replenish the mystic energy he had expended. Fortunately, the girl had many herbs, and he was an alchemist. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to take such a method of eating. Despicable. Too despicable. The man in black who was fighting with the little old man was so angry that he almost vomited blood when he saw the inconspicuous little old man actually eating pills while fighting with him. Damn, wasn't this bullying? Bullying him because he couldn't bear to part with the pills. Boo-hoo. He really couldn't bear to, and he didn't have so many pills. Blades flashed and smoke filled the air on the side of the little old man, while Long Ruashue and the freak sat comfortably on the little peacock's back and watched the battle while eating fruits. Chapter 680. The Angered Mystic Supremacy 5. Mystic Supremacy's combat strength is indeed extraordinary, Long Ruashue praised. Hee. Amazing. Truly amazing. Master, let's end this quickly. Icy nibbled at the red fruit in its hoof, raised its eyes slightly, and said impatiently, Alas, how could it take so long to deal with a mystic supremacy if Master was at his peak? Unfortunately, Master's injuries had not healed, and his current strength was only slightly better than ordinary mystic supremacies. Icy, go eat your fruit. Am not in a hurry, so why are you in a hurry? Empty said with some displeasure. Boo-hoo. He didn't know that his strength was much weaker now, but he actually urged him. Do you need my help? Icy said helplessly. No need. Don't snatch it from me. Empty glared at Icy while releasing his mystic technique. All right then. Icy lowered its head and continued eating the fruit in its hoof. A moment later, Empty and the little old man, who had finally had a kick, looked at each other. The two of them launched their strongest attacks at the same time. At this moment, the two men in black were already so tired that they were out of breath and could only be at the mercy of others. Bang, bang, bang. With a few loud bangs, the fiery red and green mystic energies imposing aura hit the two men in black who were unable to retaliate at the same time like a hot knife through butter. Two mouthfuls of blood spurted out, and the two men in black fell directly from the sky. The little old man, Empty, who had completed the mission, clapped his hands gently. Then he jumped onto the little peacock's back, grabbed a fruit, and began eating. Little peacock, let's go down and take a look at the spoils of war. We can't let others take advantage of us, Long Ruashue said with a light smile. Yes, Mississippi. The little peacock flapped its wings gently and flew to the ground. It found the two men in black and descended beside them. Forget it. They look pretty poor, Long Ruashue said with little interest as she looked at the two people who had fallen into a daze. She casually released a small flame to destroy the two pieces of meat. Little peacock, bring us to the Wu family. Long Ruashue ordered the little peacock after she was done and moved Fengda and the others out of the bracelet. Okay, miss, the little peacock replied and flapped its wings as it flew toward the Wu family. Martial Immortal City. In the sky above the city lord's mansion, Long Ruashue and the others stood on the little peacock's back and looked down at every move of the city lord's mansion like they were watching a show. Fengda, knock on the door. Long Ruashue ordered with a faint smile on her beautiful face. Okay. Fengda gave Lin Yuan and the others a look. Then, everyone summoned their beasts tacitly. Man and beast, Exin, worked together to attack the Wu family's door. Boom. With a loud sound, the door that the Wu family had just used for 2 days was dead again. After hearing the sound, almost all the Wu family members moved, including Wu Ming and the elders. Long Ruashue, why are you back? Wu Ming looked at Long Ruashue and the others in the air and was shocked. Wasn't Long Ruashue taken away by those two seniors? Moreover, her subordinates were all locked in a cell and waiting to be dealt with. Who were these people in front of him? However, what he didn't expect was why there were so many dragons. It seems like Patriarch Wu knows that I left and doesn't want me to return very much. Long Ruashue said with slight mockery. Miss Long and the others left without saying goodbye. I was just feeling regretful. Why wouldn't I want you to come back? Wu Ming probed. He couldn't understand now if Long Ruashue ran back by herself, or if the two seniors allowed her to come back. If it was the former, It meant that something had happened to the two of them. If it was the latter, he didn't dare to imagine. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Patriarch Wu, stop lying through your teeth. Didn't you send me away? Are you very curious now how I returned? Lung Ruoxue said in realization. Please enlighten me. Wu Ming said gloomily, cold sweat flowing down his back. Do you think those two will let me come back? Lung Ruoxue asked with a light smile. Wu Ming stammered, not knowing how to respond. Miss Lung, is there a misunderstanding? We don't understand what two people you're talking about, First Elder said, and pretended to be stupid. Haha. The Wu family are indeed birds of the same feather. The truth is in front of us, but they still pretend to be stupid, Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Did these people think that they wouldn't pursue the matter if they pretended to be stupid? Miss, don't waste your breath on them. Just kill them. Feng De said impatiently. What a good opportunity to practice. Kill them directly. The Wu family head won't die for no reason. Let's do something good and let the Wu family head set his mind at ease. Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. You really overestimate your capabilities. Our Wu family is one of the top families after all. How can we be killed by you little shrimps just because you want to? Second Elder said very unpleasantly after hearing Lung Ruoxue's words. Second Elder seems to be very confident in the Wu family. Then let's see who kills who first. By the way, we've already killed the two mystics from the Sun family, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. What? Wu Ming said in disbelief, his heart trembling in fear, and he almost fell to the ground. Don't be afraid. Hurry up and call your family's mystic supremacy out so that I can settle it together, Lung Ruoxue suggested, her beautiful face full of arrogance. Mystic supremacy? How could there be a mystic supremacy in their family? Boo-hoo. Wu Ming and the elders' hearts bled when they heard this. Feng De, attack. Let's end this quickly. Lung Ruoxue ordered directly after seeing no reaction from the Wu family. At the same time, she released more than half of her beasts and surrounded the entire city lord's mansion tightly. Okay. With Lung Ruoxue's order, Feng De, the others, and the beasts immediately jumped onto the ground from the little peacock's back. They casually found an opponent, and only two people, one person, and one beast stronger than them went up together. In an instant, cold glows emerged from the blades, and colorful mystic energy danced in the air like colorful butterflies, fighting until the sky darkened, ghosts wailed, and wolves howled. Chapter 681. Enraged Xian Zun, 6. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the Wu clan members had been killed. The members of the Wu clan who wanted to sneak away, on the other hand, were caught by Lung Ruoxue's beasts lying in wait for them. Naturally, they would die as well. After all, Lung Ruoxue was well aware of the principle of elimination, lest they become hidden danger down the road. Her principle was to either not kill, or complete elimination. Lung Ruoxue, I won't let you off. Wu Ming looked at the dead clansmen and elders in front of him, his eyes bursting with hatred and bloodlust. However, in the battle with him, Wu He wouldn't give him the chance to do so, and directly used a wind blade to finish him off. At the same time, the other elders and Wu clan members were also eliminated one by one. After the battle ended, Feng Zhan and the other beasts cleaned up the battlefield very consciously. After that, a few fire phoenixes spat out a stream of Nanlingli fire and burned the city lord's estate to ashes. Master, these are the spoils of war. A few storage rings lay in Charm's furry little paws. It handed them over to Lung Ruoxue as though she was presenting a treasure. One okay. Lung Ruoxue took the ring and passed it to Qingju. She then hugged the small and cute Charm in her arms. Cute master. Baby also jumped into Lung Ruoxue's arms and found a comfortable position to lie down. One Feng Zhan, not wanting to be outdone, also took one of Lung Ruoxue's shoulders. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue felt a headache coming on. She quickly placed the other beasts that were staring at her into her bracelet. Schwer, the martial immortal city is now ownerless. Should we send someone to take over? Wu Su suggested. Why send someone to take over? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. She had no intention of guarding such a lousy city. This city is also our spoils of war. If you don't send people to take over, before long, there will be other forces coming to fight for it. After all, there aren't many ownerless cities in the vast heaven continent now. Furthermore, it's such a large city. How can others not want it? Wu Qing said with a smile. Then let the Luo family send someone to take over. Lung Ruoxue said after thinking for a while. What he said made sense. There was no need to let someone else take advantage of the city she conquered. After all, the Luo family were her servants. Yes, the Luo clan is very suitable. The Luo clan's Luo city is only a day's journey away from here. Wu Tian nodded in agreement. Fengzhan, make a trip to the Luo clan. We will wait for you outside Martial Immortal City. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Fengzhan, who was standing on her shoulder. All right, master. Fengzhan nodded his head before gently flapping his wings and disappearing into the sky. After Fengzhan sent the message, Lung Ruoxue and the others left Martial Immortal City under the terrified gazes of the citizens. A day later, the news of the Wu family being exterminated and Martial Immortal City changing owners spread throughout the entire vast heaven continent. The names of Lung Ruoxue and the others also truly began to become known by people. In an instant, Lung Ruoxue, who had always been very low-key, also entered the sights of the various major forces. According to what the witnesses said, the battle that day was obviously one-sided. Because under the super-strong firepower of Lung Ruoxue and the others, the Wu clan had almost no chance to retaliate. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Luo City. After flying for nearly a day, Fengzhan finally arrived in Luo City. Luo City was much smaller compared to Martial Immortal City. It was also not as prosperous. Old man, how do we get to the City Lord Manor? Fengzhan flew straight to an elder selling items and asked politely after entering Luo City. Turn left ahead. You'll reach there after walking 2 streets. The old man raised his head and looked at the little red bird that was shining with light in front of him with slight surprise. Is this bird a legendary beast? It actually know how to ask for directions. It's really too smart, he muttered to himself. It was also fortunate that Fengzhan didn't know how to read minds. Otherwise, she would definitely be depressed after hearing the old man's thoughts. Thank you. Fengzhan thanked him before vanishing with a swish in front of the old man. Ugh, this little bird is so fast. The old man muttered to himself. After that, he foolishly looked in the direction where Fengzhan had vanished and didn't come to his senses for a long time. In the City Lord residence. At this moment, the upper echelons of the City Lord residence were gathered because of a shocking piece of news. In the conference room, the ancestor of the Luo family sat on the main seat. He looked at the elders below him and remained silent for a long time. Old ancestor, is this news be accurate? The great elder of the Luo clan asked in disbelief. His slightly turbid eyes were filled with suspicion. First elder, this news is definitely accurate. This matter is no longer a secret in the vast heaven continent right now, another elder said. Ancestor, if this is true, I feel that we should have made preparations earlier. There are definitely many aristocratic families who want a share of the loot now. We shouldn't let go of this opportunity. After all, this was obtained by our master. Therefore, it's only right for us to go. We can't let others benefit from it. The great elder analyzed. He didn't want to miss this opportunity. You want to recognize this master now? The Luo clan's old ancestor, who was sitting at the head of the table, lightly raised his eyelids and said indifferently, These old foxes, when they knew that his son had acknowledged them as master, they were all frightened. They even forced him to imprison Luo Xian and his sons as punishment. However, when they heard that their cheap master was actually so powerful, they wanted to admit it again. How could there be such a beautiful thing in the world? A person who could destroy the Wu clan just like that. How could he be controlled by others? Didn't we not know that master was so formidable? The great elder said somewhat embarrassedly, his face turning red. Yeah, old ancestor, if we can have such a valiant master, Then our Luo family can also do whatever we want in the vast heaven continent in the future, an elder said with a chuckle. Don't dream too early. From what I know, this master doesn't want to acknowledge us. The old ancestor reminded them. Ancestor, then we have to perform even better. First elder hurriedly said. Reporting to old ancestor, there is a little red bird outside that wants to see patriarch. At this time, a guard came to report. What little red bird? The ancestor of the Luo clan frowned and asked in confusion. A bird actually wanted to see his son. What was going on? That little red bird said it was here to deliver a letter, the guard said honestly. Although he also found it a little unbelievable, it was the truth. Invited in, the Luo clan's old ancestor said after pondering for a moment. Yes, the guard replied, then turned around and left. Before long, the guard returned with a small fiery bird. The Luo clan's old ancestor raised his head and carefully sized up Fengzhan. The doubt in his heart grew heavier and heavier. What kind of beast is this? It has a phoenix crown on its head, its feathers are fiery red, and its body is burning with flames. People who first saw it would definitely think that it was a firebird, but he didn't think so. However, he didn't think too much about it. As for Fengzhan, it was also observing the so-called patriarch of the Luo clan. This old man looked to be in his early 50s. His facial features were very handsome, and his eyes were bright and full of spirit. His strength was passable as well. He was a mystic emperor. However, where was the patriarch of the Luo clan? Why was the old ancestor of the Luo clan in charge now? He was puzzled. You're the person in charge of the Luo clan? Fengzhan observed for a long time before speaking. I am indeed, the old ancestor of the Luo clan said. He was getting more and more curious about this little red bird. Where's Luo Xian? Fengzhan asked curiously. He has something on now, so I will be in charge of the Luo clan for the time being, the old ancestor said. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Oh, my master sent me to deliver a letter, Fengzhan said calmly. May I know who is your master? The ancestor of the Luo clan asked. Lung Ruoxue. Fengzhan chuckled. The moment its words left its mouth, the Earth Emanations Pavilion Luo clan's old ancestor and all the elders in the hall stood up in unison. Is master doing well? The first elder of the Luo clan asked excitedly. Of course, Fengzhan said. At the same time, it couldn't help but feel uneasy in its heart. Wasn't that unnecessary talk? May I know what instructions does master has for us? The old ancestor of the Luo clan asked calmly. In fact, his heart was beating like a drum. Master has ordered you to manage Martial Immortal City. Fengzhan did not beat around the bush and said straightforwardly. Really? Master is wise. All of the elders were overjoyed. There's no need for all of you to be so happy. Master just doesn't want the fruits of her victory to be taken away by others. With your strengths, it's difficult to say if you'll be able to defend it or not. Moreover, there are still some remnants of the Wu clan that you have to annihilate. Otherwise, even if I give Martial Immortal City to all of you for free, all of you can only dream of it, Fengzhan reminded. It wasn't that it looked down upon the Luo clan, but it was because the Luo clan's strength was far inferior to those top-rate clans. Don't worry, messenger. We will do our best and not let master down. The ancestor of the Luo family promised. That's good. By the way, my master doesn't want you, even if you want to acknowledge my master. Therefore, you will have nothing to do with my master in the future by giving the Martial Immortal City to you, Fengzhan said, acting on its own initiative. It had used its divine sense to scan the area, only to discover that Luo Xian had been locked up. It understood after thinking about it for a moment. It was the ruler of a clan. There was no way they could hide the matters of a large clan from it. Messenger, the ancestor of the Luo family was about to explain, but Fengzhan did not give him any chance. It rolled its eyes at everyone in the hall before flapping its wings and flying away. The elders of the Luo family were stunned for a long time before they regained their senses. Ancestor, what should we do? The first elder of the Luo clan asked with a bitter expression. Wu. He really wanted to acknowledge this master of his. It was not easy to hug a big, thick leg. We'll talk about it in the future. Let's settle the matters in martial immortal city first. If Master sees our sincerity, she will definitely forgive us, said the Luo clan's old ancestor after thinking for a while. Yes, yes. We must manage the martial immortal city well. By the way, ancestor, shouldn't we release the family head now? The great elder reminded carefully. Hurry up and release him. The old ancestor hurriedly said. Alas, that little bird had come too quickly. They had just received the news and had yet to react. Otherwise, if they had released Luoxian earlier, they would not have angered that little bird. They'll go personally, the great elder said, and then left the meeting hall. Second elder, come up with a plan. We have to take over the martial immortal city as soon as possible, instructed the old ancestor of the Luo clan. It was perfectly justifiable for them to take over the martial immortal city now. Yes, all the elders replied before leaving the meeting hall. Proud Cold City. At the Long family's residence, Long Wudi arrived at the back of the mountain with a belly full of doubts. This was the place where the seniors of the Long clan cultivated after they were not in charge. The spiritual qi here was dense, and there was also a spirit vein underground. Hence, this place had always been regarded as a forbidden area by the Long clan. Only the seniors of the Long clan who were highly respected had the qualifications to cultivate here. Of course, if a talented junior like him obtained the permission of the ancestor, he could also cultivate here. However, he could only stay here for a month at most. Moreover, without the summons, no descendants of the Long clan were allowed to enter this place. Seniors, the ancestor wants to see me. After arriving at the forbidden area, Long Wudi respectfully bowed to the guards at the entrance and said, although he was the young master of the Long clan, even the weakest guard in the forbidden area was a profound emperor, so he had to treat them with respect. Young master, please enter. The ancestors are already waiting. The guard returned the greeting. Thank you, seniors. After saying that, Long Wudi walked straight into the forbidden ground. Come in directly. Just as Long Wudi entered the courtyard, a cold voice entered his ears. Upon hearing that voice, he immediately pushed the door open and entered. Greetings to the three elders. Upon entering the room, Long Wudi saw three men sitting cross-legged on the ground. After bowing, he obediently stood in front of the three of them. He was a little nervous, but he was even more puzzled because he really couldn't figure out why these three elders, who hadn't shown themselves for a long time, wanted to see him. One had to know that these three people hadn't summoned anyone for at least 100 years. As expected of the most outstanding descendant of our Long clan, he's still so calm even after seeing us. A young man in his 30s praised with a smile. Ancestor, you flatter me, Long Wudi said a little embarrassedly. Only he knew that his calmness was all an act. In fact, he was so nervous that his palms were sweating. After all, it was every member of the Long clan's wish to be summoned by the ancestor, and it was also his first time meeting the three legendary ancestors. Wudi, are you curious as to why we summoned you? The slightly older handsome man among the three asked kindly. Long Wudi was a descendant of his lineage, and he was quite satisfied with Long Wudi's performance. Yes, Long Wudi said honestly. He didn't dare to hide anything in front of the three elders. You know Long Ruoxue, right? The cold man who hadn't spoken the entire time asked. We've met a few times before. Long Wudi said carefully, but he couldn't figure it out. Could it be that the old ancestor wanted to see him because of Long Ruoxue? But how did the old ancestor know about Long Ruoxue? He couldn't understand. Does Long Ruoxue come from the Lingfeng continent? The grim man asked somewhat anxiously. Old ancestor, am not sure either. Long Wudi composed himself and replied carefully. Second brother, I told you that Wudi would definitely not know, the young man said knowingly. Forget it, Wudi. Go and invite Long Ruoxue over. I have something to ask her. The cold man thought for a while and said, Sigh. He knew he was a little anxious. Yes, Long Wudi hurriedly replied. Even though he did not know where Long Ruoxue was now, Since it was the old ancestor who wanted to meet, then he had to find Lung Ruashua, even if he had to overturn the entire vast heaven continent. Woody, take your leave. Don't mention this to anyone, the older man instructed. Yes, 3 ancestors. Woody will take his leave. Lung Woody bowed and left the room. At the same time, Feng Zhan also found Lung Ruashue and the others who were waiting for him outside Martial Immortal City. Master! Feng Zhan happily threw himself into Long Ruaksha's embrace and affectionately rubbed against her. Afterwards, he took over Long Ruaksha's shoulders. Feng Zhan, you've worked hard. Lung Ruashue gently stroked Feng Zhan's feathers and said with concern, Hee, it's not hard. Master, I have something to report to you. Feng Zhan looked at Lung Ruashue timidly and said softly, What is it? Lung Ruashue asked curiously. Why is Feng Zhan's expression so serious? Master, it's like this, Feng Zhan went on and on, adding oil to the fire and telling Lung Ruashue everything he knew about the Luo family. After that, he stared at his master with his red crystal-like eyes, feeling uneasy. Oh, that's it, Lung Ruashue said disapprovingly. Following Lung Ruaksha's order, the crowd walked into the fiery mountain with large strides. Just as they had expected, the temperature inside the fiery mountain was much higher than outside. However, it was indeed as the little old man had said. There were many herbs in the mountain. This was simply a paradise for fire attribute herbs and beasts. This place is not bad. I like it, Feng Zhan, who was standing on Lung Ruaksha's shoulder, happily said. Hee, this place is really suitable for the cultivation of fire attribute beast. Even the spiritual aura in the air contained only fire attribute. However, Feng Zhan's words attracted the collective disdain of Feng De and the others. It was because they were so hot that they were almost sticking out their tongues like dogs. They had already taken off all the clothes they could take off, but there was actually a beast making sarcastic remarks. It was really infuriating. Hee. Feng Zhan laughed foolishly. It also knew that its words had already aroused the wrath of the crowd. Boo-hoo. He didn't do it on purpose. Wait, gather all the herbs here and walk inside. As they walked, Lung Ruashue discovered a large amount of herbs, so she stopped and ordered. Yes. Feng De and the others replied. They then bent down and prepared to collect the herbs on the ground. This is for you. Charm, which had been lying in Lung Ruaksha's embrace, suddenly spoke. After speaking, it used its ice-type technique to freeze quite a bit of ice and gave it to Feng De and the others. When Feng De and the others saw this, they immediately beamed with joy. Then, one after another, they started flattering Charm. Hee. Charm, you're amazing. Charm, you're the best. Everyone said excitedly. With the charm's ice, they would feel much better in the fiery mountain. Thinking of this, their confidence was immediately boosted. Then, they squatted on the ground and started gathering herbs. An hour later, after everyone's hard work, the herbs on the ground were finally gathered. Lung Ruashue and the others continued to walk into the mountain. Everyone paid attention to their surroundings as they walked. At the same time, they kept all the herbs that they passed by without wasting any. They even caught a lot of little beasts for dinner along the way. Schwer, let's camp here tonight. When they arrived at a relatively spacious open space, the monster reminded. Okay. Lung Ruashue looked around and nodded. When Feng De and the others heard that, they immediately split up the work. Some set up tents, some started a fire, and some started food. There was order even though everyone was busy. Miss, the river water over there is hot. Lu Tao and Cui Zhu, who were in charge of preparing the vegetables, each held a blue seed in their hands as they said gloomily. They knew that there was a small river not far from here. Coincidentally, they had dug up quite a lot of wild vegetables and mushrooms along the way. They wanted to wash the vegetables there, but when they arrived, they realized that the river water was very hot. They casually threw a vegetable leaf into the river, and in the blink of an eye, it was cooked. After seeing this situation, how could they still dare to wash the vegetables there? Hot? Well, go take a look. Lung Ruashue frowned slightly before pulling the demon to the nearby river. When they reached the river, Lung Ruoxue was pleasantly surprised. This was actually a natural hot spring. In short, the river wasn't very big. The surface of the river was filled with steam, and bubbles were popping up from time to time. When she saw this, she reached her hand down slightly. Oh, although it was a little hot, it was still bearable. Schwer, be careful, it's hot. The freak quickly reminded when he saw Schwer reaching her hand into the water. The temperature of the water looked very high. It's fine, demon. This is a natural hot spring, Lung Ruoxue said happily. She never thought there would be a hot spring here. Yes, it's just right to use it to cook eggs. The freak thought for a while and said, this temperature should be able to cook the eggs. You glutton. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Is there anything nice to eat? Suddenly, Empty's voice came from behind them. Another glutton. Lung Ruoxue muttered to herself helplessly. I'm not a foodie, what are you guys talking about? Empty protested before looking at Lung Ruoxue curiously. I found a hot spring. The demon wanted to use it to cook eggs. Lung Ruoxue sighed and said weakly, yes, it's good to cook eggs. It's very suitable here, Empty agreed. Schwer, this hot spring is a rare item. It's very rare in the vast Heaven continent, Empty continued. Yes, there doesn't seem to be any in Lingfeng continent. Lung Ruoxue nodded and said, Miss, dinner is ready. Fengda walked over and said just as Lung Ruoxue and the other two were chatting by the hot spring. Oh, Lung Ruoxue replied. Then the four of them returned to the encampment. After dinner, Lung Ruoxue was still thinking about the hot spring. However, Fengda and the others weren't very interested, so after everyone fell asleep, she asked the devil to accompany her to the hot spring. Schwer, are you sure you want me to soak in the hot spring with you? The freak asked uncertainly when they reached the edge of the hot spring. His beautiful face was slightly flushed, and his heart started to beat faster. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Aren't you afraid? The freak asked nervously, his heart pounding. What are you afraid of? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. She was also puzzled. What's wrong with this freak? Why is he so shy? What if I lose control and want to eat you? The freak stopped mid-sentence, too embarrassed to continue. His face was burning as if it was about to catch fire. Eat me? Maybe I would be the one who wouldn't be able to control myself and eat you instead. Lung Ruoxue teased. Hee hee. The freak's current appearance made her want to bully him. He was too cute. Oh, you're welcome to try me. I've been waiting for a long time. The freak smiled charmingly. His starry eyes were sparkling as he said with anticipation, Haha, quickly take off your clothes. Lung Ruoxue urged. After speaking, she took off her clothes. Meanwhile, the freak kept his head down, not daring to look at her. Oh! The freak lowered his head and used his trembling hands to undo the buttons on his body. Wah! He was so nervous. Even though he slept with Schwer every day, they were still very pure and had yet to see each other's naked bodies. Freak, you're so slow. You don't have to take off all your clothes. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a wicked smile. Sigh. She was already sitting in the hot spring, but the devil was still slowly unbuttoning his shirt. She really didn't know why he was so embarrassed. Sooner or later, it would be her. Oh! The freak's face turned even redder upon hearing Schwer's words. In fact, if Schwer hadn't reminded him, he might have stripped naked. After a while, the freak finally took off his shorts. Then, he slowly walked into the hot spring with a red face. Chapter 685. The Fire Fox Couple, 1. Schwer, I. The freak sat down beside Lung Ruoxue shyly. He was so nervous that he started stuttering. Oh, your figure is not bad. Lung Ruoxue raised her beautiful eyes and openly admired the benefits that belonged to her. A firm chest, flat stomach, long and strong legs, coupled with his beautiful and shy face. It was too tempting. Lung Ruoxue knew that she wasn't a woman that could be easily seduced by beauty. However, the devil's looks and figure were enough to attract her. Sigh. How could this man be so good-looking? Wasn't he obviously trying to make her commit a crime? She couldn't help but complain in her heart as her naughty hands uncontrollably caressed the freak's body. Schwer. The freak's heart trembled, and he narrowed his eyes, not daring to look at Schwer. Boo-hoo. Schwer was so alluring. She was only wearing clothes he had never seen before. The thinness of the cloth could not hide anything. So, Schwer's sexy and perfect figure could be seen at a glance in front of him. Moreover, even though the two of them were not hugging each other, they could feel the heat from each other's bodies. He did not know if it was because of the hot spring or because of their bodies, but it was very hot. Freak, you have a nosebleed. Long Ruoshua looked at the two streams of blood flowing out of the freak's nose and quickly reminded him. Oh, is that so? The freak wiped his hands. As expected, his hands were stained with blood. He used the hot spring water to wash them without thinking. Let me help you, Long Ruoshua said with some heartache. Then, she used her small hands to clean the blood under the freak's nose. Schwer, it's all your fault, boo-hoo. The freak complained as he looked at Schwer with tears in his bright eyes. His peerless face was full of grievance. What does that have to do with me? Long Ruoshua asked innocently. If you didn't wear so little, would I have a nosebleed if you didn't touch me? Boo-hoo. The demon felt that he had embarrassed himself in front of Schwer again. How embarrassing. Haha. Who asked you to be so attractive? Thinking of this, Long Ruoshua felt a little wronged. Sob. She wasn't a pervert at all. However, she had always wanted to take advantage of the freak, so it was all his fault. Schwer, let me kiss you. The freak lowered his head and asked shyly. If you want to kiss me, then kiss me. It's not like I haven't kissed you before. Why ask? Long Ruoshua said generously and looked at the freak with a smile. Then I want stand on ceremony, the freak said. Then, he stretched out his long arms and hugged Schwer. He lowered his head slightly, and his hot lips covered Schwer's. Ugh. Freak. Let me catch my breath. Their tongues intertwined as they chased each other passionately. The long kiss almost suffocated Long Ruoshua. Let me give you some air, the freak said. Then, he deepened the kiss. They did not know how long the kiss lasted before they reluctantly left each other's lips. However, the two of them were still hugging each other tightly, and the heat in their bodies continued to rise. Freak. Long Ruoshua felt the change in the freak's body and was extremely shy. Coupled with the heat from the hot spring, her beautiful little face was flushed red and looked even more alluring. Schwer, the freak called out softly. Then, he could not help but bite Schwer's soft face. Oh, it tasted so good. Freak, why did you bite me? Long Ruoshua pouted and pretended to be unhappy. Hee, my Schwer is too tempting. I really want to eat her in one bite. The demon said with a face full of desire. After saying that, he took another bite of Schwer's tender little face. My freak is also very attractive. I want to eat you too. Long Ruoshua smiled evilly, her naughty little hands caressing the freak's body. Hee, it felt good to touch. His muscles were firm. His skin was tight and elastic. The 8 pieces of tofu on his abdomen were even more distinct. Schwer, if you continue to touch me, you'll have to bear the consequences. The freak panted rapidly, his chest heaving up and down as he warned her. He really wanted to eat Schwer right now, but desired a title even more. Boo-hoo. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Sorry, I accidentally touched too much. Long Ruoshua was extremely embarrassed. Her beautiful face turned even redder, but she was more nervous. Schwer, when are you going to give me a title? The freak took a deep breath before asking with a face full of desire. Haha, I'm not telling you. Long Ruoshua laughed evilly. Actually, she had already thought about it, but she was not going to say it out loud. Schwer, you're bullying me. The freak was so anxious that he was about to cry. His tears were even welling up in his bright eyes. Oh, looks like he had to use his trump card. Don't cry. They'll tell you, okay? Long Ruoshua raised the white flag in surrender. Even though she knew the freak was most likely faking it, she still fell for it. Her heart would ache every time she saw the freak staring at her with tears in his eyes. Boo-hoo! Could it be that this freak was going to eat her up for the rest of her life? She couldn't help but feel a little depressed thinking of this. However, she felt even more happier. She was very grateful to have met a freak in this strange world and had so many family members who loved her. She felt that she was really a very lucky person. Then tell me quickly. The freak was very anxious. Boo-hoo. Schwer was finally willing to give him a title. He felt as if he had waited for her for a lifetime. Long Ruoxue pulled the freak's head down and whispered a few words into his ear. The freak revealed a beautiful smile and stood there in a daze. Schwer, you're not allowed to lie to me. After a while, the freak regained his senses and warned her. Yes, yes. Long Ruoxue nodded. She had always been trustworthy. How could the freak not believe her words? Schwer. The freak hugged Long Ruoxue. The two of them continued to hug each other tightly. They did not speak for a long time. However, it was also because of this that silence was better than words. The two of them were filled with excitement. Even though it was hard to control their botus instinctive needs, they did not want their first time to be too careless. Therefore, the two of them controlled themselves well. By the time Long Ruoxue and the freak left the tent, everyone was already up and busy with breakfast. After breakfast, everyone continued on their way. The group chatted and laughed along the way. Those who did not know would definitely think that they were here to play. In fact, they were here to train. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Schwer, there's a sound over there. Let's go and take a look. Empty suddenly pointed to their left.
Amen.
Long Ruoxue nodded. Then, the crowd walked towards the left. After walking for about half an hour, they arrived at their destination. The sound came from there. Miss, are these fire foxes? Lu Tao looked at the three beautiful fire foxes and asked in surprise. It's a fire fox. Long Ruoxue nodded her head. Not far away from them, there were three fire-red foxes. Two of them were as big as a small mountain and were lying weakly on the ground. Their fiery red fur was stained with blood, and their originally soft and smooth fur was almost all tangled together. The other small one was tightly held in the arms of a big fox. That small fox was not even the size of a palm, and its eyes had not even opened completely. At this moment, it was crying out with a sobbing sound from its mouth, and it was crying non-stop. Long Ruoxue looked at the three foxes not far away and understood in her heart that this should be a family of three. The little fox had just been born not more than 2 days ago, but its parents were seriously injured. Although they were unable to take care of the little fox, they still protected it tightly in their arms. Seeing this, she couldn't help but sigh at the greatness of the love of parents. Even if she was injured, she still had to protect her child. Perhaps sensing the approach of a stranger, the little fox warily pricked up its furry little ears and turned its head left and right as though it was looking for the source of danger. At this moment, the two huge foxes also felt the presence of a stranger. They forced their weak bodies to stand up from the ground and let out low growls from time to time, as if warning them not to approach. Long Ruoxue looked at the two foxes with fierce eyes, bared their teeth and growled while releasing the pressure of a transcendent divine beasts. However, their 4 limbs were trembling nonstop and she was speechless. She knew that these 2 foxes were not weak and were both level 5 transcendent divine beasts. However, with their unstable posture, could they scare them? Little fox, your injuries are so serious. You are not our match. Long Ruoxue reminded helplessly. However, she admired the spirit of these 2 foxes. Human, we would rather die than be caught by you. The largest male fire fox glared at them with a pair of glass-like eyes and said viciously, "Are you guys planning to self-destruct?" Long Ruoxue asked. I'd rather die in pieces than live in dishonor, the male fire fox said with great momentum. Although they were already at the end of their flight, they absolutely could not be looked down upon by the enemy. Foxes also had their dignity. Even if they died, They had to die with honor. Oh, Lung Ruoxue softly replied. Then, she summoned the charm, treasure, and the shine from the bracelet. Perhaps it would be easier to communicate with the same kind. Cute master. Baby first affectionately rubbed against Long Ruoxue. As soon as Baby came out, then, it took small, square steps and very elegantly walked in front of the 3 fire foxes. He carefully sized up the 3 fire foxes before calmly saying, Little fire, don't treat my master as an enemy. My master is the best master in the world. Chapter 687. The Fire Fox Couple, 3, Humph. No human is trustworthy. The male fire fox said with extreme disdain. It had lived for several hundred years and was well aware of the evil habits of humans. In the past, the number of fire foxes that died at the hands of humans was not small. Many of them were even forced to become contract beasts of humans. From then on, they lost their freedom and were ordered by humans, becoming humans' hired thugs. Little fire. I admit that there are degenerates among humans, but you can't overturn a whole ship of people with one stick. My master and the rest are all good people. Moreover, my master can also save you and your wife. Baby said confidently. Hee. This temptation is big enough, right? There's no need for that. We would rather die than become contracted beasts of humans. Humph. To think that even the purple pupil snow fox has fallen to attach itself to humans. To think that you are the king of the fox race. You have disgraced our fox race. The male fire fox glanced at Charm and said in extreme disappointment, There were not many foxes in this world. Other than those that had been killed and contracted by humans, there were probably less than 100 that had free bodies. As for the purple pupil snow fox, it had long vanished, and the one it saw today had acknowledged humans as its master. Therefore, it was rather disappointed. Standing not far away, Charm, which was shot while lying down, was still depressed. The fury in its heart burned wildly. Who do you think it provoked? It still hadn't said anything. Why did this detestable male fox direct the fire onto it? Of course, it was still unclear about the current situation of the vast Heaven Continent's fox clan. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so angry. Lung Ruoxue looked at the aggrieved Mei and held her in her arms, comforting her. Charm, patients are all unreasonable. Let's not argue with them. Charm nodded its furry little head. Its beautiful purple eyes were filled with tears of grievance. It would not bicker with a heavily injured and unreasonable fox, even though this fire fox despised it. That would be too ungentlemanly. Good girl. Lung Ruoxue caressed its soft fur and felt a little guilty in her heart. Sigh. Initially, she thought it would be easier to communicate with her own kind. However, she was clearly wrong because this was clearly a little angry fox. However, she, who had always liked small animals, would not be calculative with a bad-tempered beast. Furthermore, she could not bear to let the little fox, who had just been born and had not fully opened her eyes, lose the protection of her parents and become an orphan. Therefore, she would save these 2 unfriendly beasts. Thinking up to here, Lung Ruoxue took out 2 round and pure white medicinal pellets and said to the male fox, I never thought of making you guys my contract beasts. I just want to help you guys. Here are 2 medicinal pellets, enough to treat your injuries. Of course, whether you eat it or not is up to you. After she finished speaking, Lung Ruoxue handed the medicinal pill to Dazzle. She indicated for Dazzle to place the medicinal pill beside them. After that, she gave everyone a look and everyone left with large strides. It was close to noon. Lung Ruoxue and the others found a random place to start a fire and prepare lunch. After the fire was lit, Lung Ruoxue placed the fish and meat she had prepared on the fire and sat down. Schwer, are you unhappy? The freak sat down beside Schwer and asked. No, it's normal for beasts not to like humans. It's not like I only found out today. Lung Ruoxue shook her head. She never liked to use her warm face to stick to other people's cold buttocks. If it wasn't for that newborn fox, she wouldn't have meddled in other people's business. Moreover, because she had loved animals since she was young, she couldn't ignore beasts. Therefore, Even though the two big foxes were very wary of her, she still left them some medicine that could treat injuries. She hoped that the two stubborn fire foxes and their wife would work hard to live for their children. Cute master, I love you the most. Baby jumped into Long Ruaksha's arms and said coquettishly. Then, it continued to rub against her chest. Be good. Long Ruashua caressed her baby's fur and said happily. Oh, her beasts were all so cute. She was already very satisfied. So, why did she have to take it to heart because of a beast that viewed humans as an enemy? Master, I'm very happy that you're my master. Charm also jumped into Long Ruaksha's embrace and said with a face full of reliance. Even though she had just been looked down upon by her own kind, she was very glad that she had a master who cared about Beast and treated Beast like a family member. Haha, Charm is getting cuter and cuter. Long Ruaksha's beautiful face was filled with satisfaction. Schwer, am I not cute? The freak immediately protested. Cute. Long Ruashua quickly coaxed. Sigh. The freak always liked to fight for favor with her beast. She really couldn't do anything to him. That's more like it. The freak nodded in satisfaction. Miss, the food is ready. At this time, Fonda suddenly walked over and said, if you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Let everyone come and eat. The meat is almost done roasting, Long Ruashua said. Then, she used a dagger to cut a few pieces of golden roasted meat and handed them to the little beastie around her. Fonda and the others also walked over and sat around the fire. Everyone was eating the roasted meat in their hands as they chatted. Suddenly, a red light flashed. Chapter 688. The Fire Fox Couple 4. That way. The little fire fox gently pointed and said in a childish voice. At the same time, it didn't forget to nibble on the roasted meat in its paws. Oh, it was so fragrant. It couldn't resist the temptation of this delicious food, so it could only run over and snatch it. Long Ruashua looked in the direction the little fire fox was pointing at and saw two slightly shy fire foxes coming out from behind the bushes. Their fur was glossy and slippery, and their injuries were all healed. Why are you guys here? Long Ruashua asked in confusion. These two foxes hated humans so much. Shouldn't they stay far away from them? Why did they follow them here? Don't tell her that this was purely a coincidence. She didn't believe it. Schwer, this family of three has been tailing us all along, Empty said with a smile. Actually, he had already noticed the three little tails behind him, but he had not said anything about it. Oh, why are you following us? Long Ruashua was speechless. What are these foxes up to? We're here to thank you. The fire fox couple looked at each other before the male fox spoke. There's no need to thank me. I gave you the medicinal pills because I didn't want this little fire fox to become an orphan at such a young age, and not because I want you to thank me. Long Ruashua said with a slightly cold tone. She still couldn't quite figure out what these two foxes wanted to do. However, she wouldn't think too much of herself and think that this fox couple was moved by her and wanted to sacrifice themselves. The male fox's face was filled with embarrassment. He wanted to say something but couldn't. He even stuttered. What do you guys want? Long Ruashua asked in confusion. Why did this hot-tempered male fox become so shy? Where did its imposing manner go? We don't have anywhere to go. The female fox could only speak up seeing that her husband couldn't speak. Long Ruashua was speechless. They had nowhere to go. What did it have to do with her? Could it be that they wanted her to take them in? Oh, this wasn't a shelter. With your strength, it shouldn't be difficult for you to occupy a territory. Empty smiled and said. These two foxes were both level 5 super divine beasts. If he said that he couldn't find a place to live in this mountain, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Our home has been taken over by another even more powerful beast, so we have no home to return to now, the fox mother said with a hint of sadness in her voice. It was getting harder and harder to encounter other foxes of the same species as her, but this woman had 3 of them by her side, and one of them was even a king of the fox clan. Thus, after discussing among themselves after recovering from their injuries, The two of them wanted to follow by the side of that snow fox. It was just that. Her husband had been very rude to that snow fox, so they were a little embarrassed to speak up. In addition, they didn't know if these people would take in their family of 3. You want me to take you in? Lung Ruoxue asked. Amen, amen. The 2 foxes nodded their heads in unison. This woman had saved their lives. As for wanting to follow by the side of the snow fox, other than the fact that the fox was publicly acknowledged as the king of the Fox clan, they also wanted to repay Lung Ruoxue for saving their lives. After all, Beast knew how to repay favors. Charm, what do you think? Lung Ruoxue lowered her head and asked the Mei in her arms. That male fox was very rude to them just now. If it wasn't friendly to her, she could argue with them, but she didn't want her beast to suffer. Master, leave them behind. Charm looked at the little fire fox, who was eating roasted meat with its head lowered, and then looked at the expectant couple. Her heart softened as she spoke. In truth, she could understand the anger of a naturally proud beast when it heard that its own kind recognized another as its master. If their positions were reversed today, it was afraid that its reaction would be even more intense. Thus, after thinking it through, it no longer felt angry. And, since Charm said to keep you guys, then you guys can stay in the group. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Thank you. The 2 fire foxes were very happy. After thanking him, the male fox walked in front of Charm and bowed slightly. Then, he said, sorry about earlier. I was just, however, before the male fox could finish, he was interrupted by Charm. It's all right. I'm not angry anymore. Also, I can understand why your reactions are so intense. Thank you. The male fox felt relieved after hearing what Charm said. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Little Fire, did you just say that a beast stronger than you guys occupied your home? At this time, Baby asked curiously. Yes, we were injured by that beast. The male fox lowered his head and said gloomily. Sigh. If this human hadn't saved them, they would have died and their children wouldn't have survived. What beast is that? Baby continued asking. That beast is covered in flames. I'm not sure what species it is, but it's very powerful. It's a level 8 super divine beast. The male fire fox told him what it knew. If it wasn't for the fact that I was giving birth, the 2 of us might not have been its match even if we worked together. Boo-hoo, the fire fox said with great self-reproach. When that beast attacked, it happened to be giving birth. Hence, not only did its husband have to deal with that powerful beast, he also had to divert his attention to worry about it. And the fire fox was severely injured in order to protect the mother and son. After giving birth, its body was weak and it was no match for that powerful enemy. That was why the husband and wife almost died. Sigh. Luckily, this human saved them. Otherwise, their child would probably not have survived. Level 8 Transcendent Divine Beast? Its strength is indeed not low. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Other than Icy, that beast should be the highest rank she knew until now. Schwer, it's not bad if a level 8 Transcendent Divine Beast becomes a contract beast, Empty said with a smile. I already have a lot of beasts. Even if they haven't reached the strength of a level 8 Transcendent Divine Beasts, no one is their match if we attack them in groups. Lung Ruoxue smiled. To others, a level 8 Transcendent Divine Beast might be attractive, but she wasn't too interested. Miss, that beast is of the fire attribute. It's the most suitable contract for young master, Lu Tao suggested. Chapter 689. The Adorable Beasts, 1. Haha, thank you for your kind intentions, Peach Lu. However, I really don't need it. It's better to give it to other people. Lung Ruhan declined. His beasts were enough. Even though the other party was a level 8 Transcendent Divine Beasts, he still had no intention of taking it. Moreover, he believed that in time, his beasts would also advance to level 8 Transcendent Divine Beasts. Therefore, he was not in a hurry. If anyone else knew that a level 8 Transcendent Divine Beast had appeared here, they would have come to capture it long ago. However, you guys are actually making excuses. Sigh. This is too much, Wu Xiao teased. So what if it's a level 8 transcendent divine beast? If my beast uses a tag team battle, it will still have to surrender. Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. In fact, she knew that the higher the rank of the beast, the more prideful it would be and the harder it would be to tame it. Moreover, she did not want it to be difficult for strong beasts. Therefore, unless it was necessary, she would not use beast taming to forcefully tame those arrogant beasts. Moreover, she seemed to prefer raising them from a young age. Therefore, although her beasts had yet to reach the 8th rank, their feelings for her were very deep. It was not something ordinary beasts could compare to. Yes, my cute master. Isn't it just a level 8 super divine beast? Don't be afraid, leave it to us, Baby said confidently. They did not like to play by the rules, so they were not afraid of level 8 super divine beasts. Of course, that was excluding freaks like Icy. Master, it'll reach level 8 sooner or later, Charm said. Well, it had decided to cultivate hard and strive to become a level 9 transcendent divine beasts as soon as possible. Even though it might not be comparable to the Ice Qilin in terms of bloodline, it believed that it would not be inferior to the Qilin if it advanced to level 9 transcendent divine beast. I'm already very satisfied with you guys. Lung Ruoxue raised the 2 furry little beasts in her arms high up in front of her. Oh, her own beast looked so cute no matter how she looked at it. Our young Miss Beast pets are all delivered to her doorstep. Feng said with a smile. He knew from the past that his young Miss attraction to beast pets was unrivaled. Sigh. You guys. Wu Qing sighed, his handsome face full of helplessness. Shuer, are we going to look for that level 8 super divine beast? Lung Qingtian, who had been silent all this while, asked. Let's go. We can train our beasts. Lung Ruoxue thought for a while and said, although she was not very interested in the level 8 super divine beast, it was not bad to let the beast be a sparring partner for her own beast. They'll bring you there, the male fox volunteered. It was so excited. It finally had a chance to take revenge. Now that it and its wife were working together with this lattice beasts, that level 8 transcendent divine beast would definitely surrender. It was even more confident with a backer. And Lung Ruoxue nodded. Looking at the excitement of the fire fox couple, she knew that these 2 little guys also wanted revenge. After everyone finished eating and tidied up, the fire fox couple led them to their former residence. After walking for nearly an hour and passing through several mountains, Lung Ruoxue and the others were brought to a mountain stream by Hua Hu and his wife. Before they even got close, they could already see 2 streams of fiery red magma, like 2 red ribbons crossing the mountain stream, splitting the entire mountain stream into 2. It's so hot in here, Vonda said, unable to stand the heat. At the same time, she kept wiping the sweat from her forehead with her hand. This is the core of the entire fiery mountain. Of course it's hot, Lung Ruoxue said knowingly. These 2 fire foxes were super divine beasts with both fire and wind attributes, so they naturally liked places with abundant fire attribute spiritual energy. Master, I like this place, Feng Zhan chuckled as it spoke. It was so comfortable that its eyes were half closed, and its face was filled with enjoyment. Suddenly, Feng Zhan fell from Lung Ruoxue's shoulders with a plop sound, its claws hitting the ground. Haha, who asked you to be so proud of yourself? Now, extreme joy brings sorrow. Feng De laughed happily. Damn it, why did you kick me? Feng Zhan glared at the treasure that had yet to retract its leg and roared out fiercely. Because you're not pleasing to the eye. Who asked you to be so complacent? Baby said with a furious expression. After that, he released another water element profound technique that completely drenched Feng Zhan. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Master, my darling is bullying me. Feng Zhan, who was drenched like a soup bird, had tears in its eyes as it looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully. Unfortunately, it was ignored by its own master. Where is that level 8 transcendent divine beast? Lung Ruoxue pretended not to see Feng Zhan's pleading expression and said directly to the fire fox. It's in that cave. The male fire fox pointed at the cave nearby. Then, it looked at Feng Zhan with extreme sympathy. Sigh. Poor little red bird. It knew that other than fire attribute beasts, the other beasts wouldn't like this place, yet she was still so arrogant. Who else would he kick if not you? Oh, let's go in, Lung Ruoxue said. After that, she directly walked past Feng Zhan, who was still lying on the ground acting shamelessly, and headed towards the cave that Gong Hua who had mentioned. Everyone looked at Feng Zhan with sympathy and quickly followed Lung Ruoxue. Master, wait for me. Wu. Seeing this, Feng Zhan hurriedly got up from the ground and flew towards Lung Ruoxue. At the same time, it was a little depressed. Why did its trick of self-injury not work today? Actually, what it didn't know was that Lung Ruoxue also felt that it was a little too proud, so she deliberately ignored it. When Feng Zhan chased after them, Lung Ruoxue and the others were already standing at the entrance of the cave. The cave was about half the height of a person and wasn't very big. However, when they looked into the cave through the entrance, it was pitch black inside. Therefore, they were hesitating whether they should all enter. Master, leave the vanguard to me, Feng Zhan said with an ingratiating expression. It looked extremely obedient. Let's go in together. Lung Ruoxue thought for a while and said. There were level 8 super divine beasts inside. She was really worried about letting Feng Zhan go into scout. Furthermore, this was the fire fox's home, so they should be very familiar with the situation inside. With the two fire foxes leading the way, it would definitely be much safer than Feng Zhan going in himself. Chapter 690. The Adorable Beasts 2 N. Feng Zhan quickly nodded his head and obediently stood on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder. Miss, apart from that level 8 transcendent divine beasts, there shouldn't be any other danger here. The male fire fox thought for a while and said. Even though this was their home, they had never ventured deep into the volcano before. Hence, they were not very clear about what was in the depths of the volcano. Let's go in. Lung Ruoxue turned around and said to everyone. As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the fire fox couple jumped into the cave first, followed by Feng Zhan, Charm, and Baby. Swear, they'll go in first, the demon said, then bent down and entered the cave. Okay, Lung Ruoxue agreed. She knew that the demon wanted to protect her, so she was very willing to give this opportunity to the demon. When everyone entered the cave one by one, they were surprised to discover that the situation inside was different from what they had seen outside. From the outside, the inside of the cave was pitch black. However, after entering, they realized that it was actually very spacious and bright inside. There were even sparks flashing on the fiery red walls from time to time. Moreover, the fire attribute's spiritual energy here was also quite rich. Feng Zhan, this place seems to be bigger than the volcano beneath your phoenix nest. Lung Ruoxue sized up the surroundings before speaking. Yes. Feng Zhan nodded. This place was indeed much better than the volcano beneath their phoenix nest because the area here was large enough. Moreover, the location of their phoenix nest wasn't something that could be chosen by the Phoenix clan. Otherwise, they would have chosen a good place to be their home. Miss, that level 8 transcendent divine beasts should be at the magma pool, the male fire fox explained, because they also live there. Bring us there, Lung Ruoxue instructed. Yes. The male fire fox nodded. Then, he led Lung Ruoxue and the others to turn left and right. Soon, they arrived at their former residence. After Lung Ruoxue and the rest reached the magma pool, they looked around but did not find any beast. As for Feng Zhan, who was standing on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, when it saw the fiery red lava pool that was emitting bubbles, it was as if it saw its own family. It directly flew to the side of the lava pool and plunged in. It doesn't mind being hot, Feng De said with a face full of black lines. He was so scared that his heart was trembling, and he couldn't help but let his imagination run wild. If it were him, he would have been roasted a long time ago. That little firebird loves lava the most, Baby said with disdain. Just as Baby finished speaking, the wind and clouds suddenly changed. Two fiery red flames soared into the sky. One big and one small, they faced each other in midair. Damn it! Who dares to snatch my territory without a care for their own lives? The huge flame roared angrily. Its powerful voice frightened Fengda and the others so much that they were trembling all over. Of course, they weren't scared. It was just that this voice was too valiant, comparable to the lion's roar. TCH, this is clearly the territory of those two big foxes. You actually have the nerve to say that it's yours. Fengzhan said with contempt. This was really a good place. No wonder this fire phoenix had taken a fancy to it. You are the fire phoenix? Why haven't I seen you before? The huge flame felt the aura of its own kind and asked with some doubt. This fire phoenix's aura was very unfamiliar. It wasn't from their clan. Who do you think you are? Why must I let you see me? Fengzhan said provocatively. Even though its strength was inferior to the fire phoenix's bloodline suppression was no use on him. Moreover, it had many helpers. Therefore, it was child's play to deal with this fire phoenix. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Damn it. Do you know who I am? How dare you speak to me in such a manner? The fire phoenix was enraged. The consequences were extremely dire. In addition, it was better to act than to be tempted. After which, it launched an attack towards Fengzhan. In an instant, two balls of fire, one big and one small, intertwined. The fiery red flames burned with sparks, dancing in the enclosed cave. Everyone was dazzled by what they saw. Young lady, why isn't Fengzhan transforming? Asked Lu Tao in confusion. That fire phoenix was so huge, so Fengzhan would be at a disadvantage if he disguised himself. The small one is more agile, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. The difference in strength caused Fengzhan to be very clear that even if he transformed, he would not be a match for this fire phoenix. Therefore, he might as well use the small one to fight the big one and pretend to be a pig to eat the tiger. Miss, let me help it. The male fire fox looked at the two balls of flames fighting in midair and said eagerly. It never expected that the beast that had stolen its territory was actually a fire phoenix. Sigh. The fire phoenix's bloodline pressure was above it, and its body was burning with flames. No wonder it couldn't tell what kind of beast it was. However, what surprised it even more was that the small bird was also from the Feng clan. Go. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She knew that the fire fox couple wanted to take revenge, so she naturally wouldn't stop them. Young miss, that fire phoenix is a shrew. It's really too scary, Fengda said with a face full of fear. Oh, this was the first time he had heard of a beast that claimed to be his mother. Damn it, who are you calling a shrew? Even though Fengda's voice was not loud, it could not escape the ears of a level 8 transcendent divine beast. Therefore, when it heard someone call it a shrew, it was a little angry. It especially hated hearing that word. Thinking of this, it split out a flame and attacked Fengda. Miss, save me. When Fengda saw the flame, he hurriedly cried for help. Boo-hoo. He did not like fire. Lung Ruoxue helplessly shook her head. After that, a fire attribute profound energy was released from her fingertip and she used the flame. How could this be? Seeing its own flame being absorbed by Lung Ruoxue, the fire phoenix couldn't help but be momentarily stunned. Oh, you are indeed a shrew. However, your opponent is me. You are not allowed to be distracted. When Fengzhan saw that the fire phoenix was actually in a mental state while fighting with it, it could not help but say with some dissatisfaction, Damn it, you're not allowed to call me a shrew. The fire phoenix instantly returned to its senses when it heard the word shrew, and then it roared fiercely at Fengzhan. Chapter 691. The Adorable Beasts, 3, And you say you're not a shrew. I've never seen a phoenix as rude as you. Fengzhan laughed evilly and provoked. Then it found an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. The male fire fox on the ground kept its eyes fixed on the two beasts and took advantage of their bickering to launch a sneak attack. Ah, damn it. You all are too despicable. The fire phoenix who was successively ambushed became furious, truly wishing to cut this bird and fox into pieces. This is called all is fair in war. You said we're despicable, but aren't you despicable? Taking advantage of the fact that the fire fox is about to give birth to a baby and stealing other people's territory. You're the most despicable villain. Feng Zhan said with a face full of contempt. In this world, the strong are respected. Their strength is inferior to mine, so it's natural for them to give up their territory to me, the fire phoenix explained. It did not feel that there was anything wrong with snatching someone else's territory because this was the law of the jungle and the beast world. Yes, what you said makes sense. Then I'll seize your territory. Feng Zhan nodded and said, You want to snatch my territory? Can you defeat me? The F mocked. In truth, it was furious in its heart because this fellow was really too cunning. It actually used its impersonation to fight with it, causing its attacks to be unable to hit the fire phoenix. It was really infuriating. Tsage, although my strength is inferior to yours, I have helpers. Feng Zhan said proudly. Just as he finished speaking, the male fox on the ground took the opportunity and successfully ambushed him again. Ah! The fire phoenix cried out in shock. After that, it glared fiercely at the male fox on the ground who was slightly complacent. It was really courting death. It actually dared to spank its butt. You are screaming so wildly. Could it be that you have hit an important part of your body? Feng Zhan laughed evilly. Its eyes were looking at a certain part of the fire phoenix. The expression on its face was really wretched. Damn it, you pervert. The fire phoenix was enraged by Feng Zhan's bloodshot eyes, and the flames on its body burned even more intensely. Listening to the conversation between the two beasts, Long Ruoxue and the others couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. At the same time, they couldn't help but think to themselves, Feng Zhan, you are so evil. At this moment, Silverwing's dissatisfied voice came from Long Ruoxue's heart. Master, I want to go out and teach this fire phoenix a lesson. Silverwings, who had been shot while lying down, was furious. All right then. Long Ruoxue helplessly moved the Silver Wolves representatives out from the bracelet. She knew that the fire phoenix's you pervert had definitely caused the Silver Wolves to be dissatisfied. Her beasts all had very strong self-esteem. After the Silver Wolves came out, they formed a circle with tacit understanding and surrounded Feng Zhan and the fire phoenix in midair. Feng Zhan, quickly get this female bird off. Silver Wings roared loudly, and an angry aura emitted from its nose. How do we get it? Feng Zhan asked in a somewhat puzzled manner. It wanted to lure the fire phoenix down, but this female beast did not fall for it. Feng Zhan, take out your manly courage and force yourself on it. Haha. A silver wolf suggested with a serious expression. I don't want it. My standards are very high. I don't fancy such a shrew. Feng Zhan said with a face full of disdain. In its heart, it couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. Why would this silver wolf have such thoughts? It was so depressed that it wanted to vomit blood. Damn perverts, I won't let you off. You're dead. When the fire phoenix heard the silver wolf's suggestion to get that fire phoenix to rape it, it was so angry that it almost vomited blood. Hey, you female firebird. You scolded others as pervert just now, and now you're scolding us. Did our wolf clan offend you? Why are you making things difficult for us? Silver Wings roared with an unfriendly expression. It was so angry that the fur on its body almost stood up. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. You're all perverts to begin with, the fire phoenix said disapprovingly. If it wasn't a pervert, would that damned silver wolf have such obscene suggestions? On the battlefield, the beasts were engaged in a heated war of words, while Long Ruoxue and the rest were whispering to each other. Schwer, your beast is really extraordinarily powerful, huh? Empty laughed naughtily. He almost burst out laughing when he heard the silver wolf suggestion. Haha, how could there be such a cute beast? Eh, that's right. Lung Ruaksha's forehead was filled with black lines. She was so embarrassed that she wished she could find a hole to hide in. Sob, this was too embarrassing. How could her beast have such evil thoughts? However, when her beast said those words in an incomparably serious manner, it was really extremely cute. A fire phoenix isn't that easy to force. Icy, which was lying in Long Ruaksha's embrace after it came out with the silver wolves to watch the show, spoke with a serious expression. But I can help, Icy added. Long Ruashua wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. Then, she looked at Empty with a faint smile and felt a little better. It seemed her beast wasn't the only one that was powerful. It was even more powerful and domineering here. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and help, Empty said without any composure. Okay. Icy replied happily and then jumped into the battlefield. Feng Zhan, who was in midair, looked at the ice unicorn that suddenly jumped out and was shocked in its heart. He almost fell from the sky. Whoa, was this fellow here to cause trouble? With Icy around, they could forget about attacking. Little Feng Feng, I've come to help you. Icy glanced at Feng Zhan, who had a bitter expression, and said with a smile. Oh. It seemed like it hadn't made a move for a long time, and its hooves were itching. Icy then opened its mouth and started brewing. Haha, a little dog actually dares to send itself to death. It really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The depressed fire phoenix said with a bit of mockery when it saw the little dog that suddenly rushed into the battlefield. You'll regret it if you look down on it, Feng Zhan kindly reminded and gloated at the fire phoenix. One had to know that Icy hated people calling it puppy the most. Hee. Apart from the fire fox and its wife who didn't know the truth, everyone present, as well as the beasts all looked at the fire phoenix with sympathy. At this time, Icy was almost done brewing. Its large mouth opened and closed, and a few sneezes were released from its mouth. With several loud bangs, the fire phoenix in the air was knocked down from the sky by that powerful sneeze without the slightest bit of preparation. Chapter 692. The Adorable Beasts 4. As soon as the fire phoenix fell to the ground, the silver wolves that were on standby swarmed up and began to beat up the fire phoenix that was using them as a bargaining chip. When the fire fox couple saw the situation before them, they were stunned for a moment. However, they quickly reacted and joined the army. In an instant, fiery red feathers flew everywhere, and the painful cries of the fire phoenix could be heard from time to time. Save me! The fire phoenix cried out for help for the umpteenth time. Unfortunately, not a single person was willing to help it. Young lady, that fire phoenix is so pitiful, Chuizhu said with some sympathy. Being soft-hearted to the enemy is the same as being cruel to yourself. Therefore, we definitely cannot sympathize with it, Baby said with a calm expression. Although it did not attack this time, it was still cheering. Haha, Baby is right. Lung Ruashua caressed Baby's head and said happily. After an unknown period of time, the cries of the fire phoenix became weaker and weaker, and the beasts were also done fighting. At this time, Icy slowly walked over. When the beasts saw it, they felt that they had to give it space. Do you still dare call me a puppy? Icy looked down from above, its face full of arrogance. It extended a hoof, purposely stepping on the fire phoenix's wound, feeling extremely discontent inside. It would have killed this bird if not for the fact that it was from the Phoenix clan. No, I don't dare to, boo-hoo. The fire phoenix's face was filled with grievance as it carefully said. This fellow was really too abnormal. Just a few sneezes had caused it to be dazed. Not only that, but it actually didn't have the strength to retaliate in front of this little dog. At this moment, it also knew that this little dog's strength was above its own, so it didn't dare to act rashly. If you dare to call me a puppy again, I don't care if you are from the Phoenix clan, I will still roast and eat all your fur. Icy threatened. No, I don't dare anymore. The fire phoenix's fiery red eyes were full of tears, and it said with a face full of fear, "Boo-hoo." It already didn't have many feathers left on its body, so it didn't want to become a bald fire phoenix. At least you know what's good for you. Little Fong Fong, you can deal with this little fire phoenix however you want. It doesn't matter if you force yourself on it. Icy nodded its head in satisfaction, then said to Feng Zhan with a mischievous smile, I don't want to. My standards are very high. Feng Zhan was terrified to the point of trembling, and it hurriedly said, Sigh, little Feng Feng doesn't like you. Why don't I find you another bird? Icy frowned as it thought, No, there's no need. Thank you for your kind intentions. The flame phoenix said in a depressed manner. It was so scared that its body was trembling. Boo-hoo! This puppy was too terrifying. It decided that it would stay away from all puppies in the future. Hee-hee, since that's the case, then I won't say anything more. In the future, you have to listen to Little Snowy. You have to do whatever she tells you to do. You are not allowed to resist, and you are not allowed to talk back. Otherwise, bear the consequences yourself. Icy made its request without any hesitation. Yes, I understand, the fire phoenix said softly. Boo-hoo. Even though it did not know who Little Snowy was, it did not dare to disobey the little dog's words. Its heart was filled with regret. Boo-hoo. If it had known earlier, why would it leave the clan? Now, not only was it beaten up, it might even become a contract beast of a human. Even though it was extremely unwilling, it did not have any thoughts of resisting under the pressure of that little dog. Follow me. Icy pointed at the fire phoenix with its little hooves. After speaking, it walked in front, while the pitiful flame phoenix limped behind it obediently. Little Snowy, this fire phoenix is yours. Icy jumped into Long Ruox's embrace and found a comfortable position to lie down on as it fawned over her. I don't want to. Long Ruoxua looked up and down at the fire phoenix that was covered in injuries and looked pitiful. Her beautiful face was filled with disdain. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Ugh. The fire phoenix, who was lamenting in its heart that it was about to become a contract beast of the human race, heard Long Ruox's words. Not only did it not feel happy, it felt depressed instead. It was a phoenix. As a level 8 transcendent divine beasts, the genius of the new generation in the clan, it was actually despised by a small human. How could its proud heart accept this? Why? Icy blinked its beautiful ice-blue eyes and asked in confusion. This beast's strength was not bad. At least it was stronger than that kitten. Why didn't Little Snowy want it? I don't lack beasts. Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Little Snowy, no one will complain about having too many beasts. Of course, Icy knew that Little Snowy did not lack beasts. However, if they could contract more, who would complain about having too many beasts? One had to know that beasts were the greatest help in battle. Master, if you don't want to contract it, then let it be my subordinate. Feng Zhan flew over and spoke with an evil smile on its face. Hee-hee, taking in a level 8 transcendent divine beast as an errand boy. Let's see if that cat still dares to bully it in the future. Little Feng Feng, didn't you say you were not interested in it? Icy said meaningfully. Its furry little face had a wretched smile. I just want to find an errand girl. Feng Zhan said somewhat angrily. However, it did not dare to flare up in front of this pervert. Boo-hoo! This little dog was not someone it could provoke. Oh, Little Snowy, since I've already given you this fire phoenix, you can decide. Icy intentionally made a long O sound, and then calmly said to Long Ruoxua, do any of you want to contract this fire phoenix? Long Ruoxua asked indifferently. Everyone looked at each other and shook their heads in fear. What a joke. Who would dare to contract a beast that was so strong? Wouldn't that be finding an ancestor for themselves? So, no matter how strong this beast was, they would still keep a respectful distance because they couldn't afford it. Moreover, how could they lose a beast if they followed their miss? Oh, looks like no one wants to contract you. Fengzhan, they'll give it to you as a subordinate. Lung Ruoxue said generously. Hee. Thank you, master. Fengzhan said happily. With a level 8 transcendent divine beast as its subordinate, it would definitely be able to do whatever it wanted in front of that little white cat in the future. Chapter 693, Year Fire Ginseng 1. Little Fire Phoenix, from now on, you're my subordinate. You have to protect this big brother. Fengzhan said to the depressed Fire Phoenix again. Yes, the Fire Phoenix said, a little depressed. Moreover, it was definitely not just depressed. It had originally thought that it would become a contract beast for humans, but it had actually been looked down upon by all the humans present. Boo-hoo. Even though it was better to be a subordinate to its own kind than to be a contract beast for humans, for some reason, it felt uncomfortable in its heart. All right, from now on, we're all on the same side. Fire Phoenix, you're the strongest amongst the beasts, but you are not allowed to bully other beasts. Lung Ruoxue warned. She was afraid that this proud phoenix wouldn't be convinced and would bully her cute beasts, so she naturally had to say the ugly words first. I understand, the Fire Phoenix said in an extremely wronged manner. Boo-hoo. Its strength was clearly not the strongest, okay? That little dog was. However, it definitely did not dare to say these words under the threat of Icy's gaze. Let's go. Can we go out from that side? Lung Ruoxue pointed to the other side of the passage and asked. If they went back the way they came, it would be a bit far. Should be able to, the Fire Phoenix said with uncertainty. Ever since it occupied this place, it had always been cultivating in the magma pool, not going there. Schwer, let's go over there and try. Empty suggested. And Lung Ruoxue nodded her head. After that, she pulled the two of them to walk side by side at the front. No one else followed closely behind. The few little beasts and the limping Fire Phoenix walked at the back. Little Fire Bird, don't even think about escaping. Silver Wing, who was following behind the Fire Phoenix, warned. I have no intention of escaping. The Fire Phoenix angrily denied. In fact, it really did have that thought. However, it didn't dare to implement it because it was very afraid of that little dog. Now that its thoughts had been seen through by that damned pervert, it was furious. Hee. Its injuries are so serious. Where can it run to? The male Fire Fox gloated. Seeing this Fire Phoenix covered in wounds and limping, it was even happier than killing its enemy. You're right. Silver Wings sized up the Fire Phoenix and then said indifferently, Hee. Master didn't give it any healing medicinal pills, probably afraid that it'll flee. If its injuries really recover, then it'll probably be difficult to capture it again. Lung Ruoxue and the others walked through two passageways and saw the exit. This entrance was much bigger than the one they entered earlier. The two of them could walk out side by side. However, when they got closer, they realized why no one entered or left this entrance. It was because the bottom of the entrance was made up of endless fiery red magma and a sea of fire. The scorching temperature inside was something even fire attribute beasts could not withstand. Little Fire Phoenix, how nice this place is. Tell me, why are you fighting over territory with the Fire Fox? Fengzhan said with a grin. It was too hot here, and it could barely stand it. If you like it, you can stay here. The Fire Phoenix rolled its eyes at Fengzhan and angrily said, forget about the fact that it had not discovered this place back then. Even if it had seen it, it would not have chosen this place. Other than the heat, There was basically not much fire attribute spiritual aura here. Only a fool would like this place. Stop arguing. Think about how to get out, Long Ruoxue said with a headache. Sigh. If she had known this would happen, she would have gone back the way she came. It was stuffy and hot here. The air had evaporated. How could she still see the spiritual aura? Master, let little Fire Phoenix take us up there, Fengzhan suggested. Even though it was hot here, it was still bearable for the Fire Phoenix clan. Moreover, the Fire Phoenix's strength was high, so it naturally had to do the manual labor. And Long Ruoxue nodded. Then, she put her grandfather and the rest of the beastmen into her bracelet, leaving only the monster, Wu, Icy, and Fengzhan outside. What about them? The Fire Phoenix asked in surprise when it saw the others, and the beast disappeared in front of it. Bring us out, Long Ruoxue instructed, not answering the Fire Phoenix's question. Yes. The Fire Phoenix indicated for Long Ruoxue and the other two beasts to sit on its back. Then, it flapped its wings and flew high up, leaving the cave. However, its heart was constantly thinking about the whereabouts of those people and beasts that had disappeared. After flying to a safe place, the Fire Phoenix descended while Long Ruoxue and the others immediately jumped off its back. After that, she moved grandfather and the others out from the bracelet. When the Fire Phoenix saw all of this, its face was filled with disbelief. However, it did not ask anything else. However, it could not help but think in its heart, it seemed that this human had many secrets. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBoxNovel.com. Thanks. Schwer, where is this place? Lung Qingtian looked at the bare hill in front of him and asked in confusion. Was this still the fiery mountain? It didn't seem as hot as before. This is the place? Long Ruoxue looked at the scenery in front of her and shook her head. She didn't know where they were either. At this moment, they were on a hill and there were roads on both sides. She didn't know where they led to. Miss, this should be the southernmost area of Fiery Mountain. This place is already very far from the center of the Fiery Mountain, so it's not that hot anymore. The male firefox carefully observed the terrain, then opened his mouth to speak. Those pink eyes were filled with admiration for Long Ruoxue. That was because it never thought that this human woman would actually have such a beautiful space even in its dreams. The spirit chi inside was simply not something any place in the vast heaven continent could compare to, and this made it even more determined. It wanted to follow their determination. Oh, Long Ruoxue nodded. Before she could figure out which direction to go, she saw a group of people coming from the left. There were about 30 people in this group. The one leading them was a middle-aged man with ordinary facial features and a pair of extremely bright eyes. He gave off an extraordinary presence and possessed the strength of a mystic sovereign. Not only that, most of these people were actually mystic sovereign. Only a small portion were mystic monarchs. Are you also here to look for the fire ginseng? After seeing Long Ruoxue and the others, the middle-aged man in the lead asked enthusiastically. That's right. Long Ruoxue's gaze collided with the freak's. After that, she faintly replied, even though she had no idea where the fire ginseng was. Chapter 694, Nyin Fire Ginseng 2, Haha. Since fate has brought us together, why don't we go together? The middle-aged man said straightforwardly and extended an invitation to Long Ruoxue and the others. Uncle, their strength is so low. If we bring them along, they'll be a burden to us. As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, someone immediately became displeased. Long Ruoxue raised her beautiful eyes and sized up the woman who spoke. She smiled lightly and said, Thank you for your kind intentions. Since you're afraid we'll drag you down, then let's go our separate ways. Umph. At least you know what's good for you. The woman said proudly. I'm really sorry. I originally thought that the more people there were, the stronger I would be. I didn't expect, the middle-aged man said a little embarrassedly. He only spoke halfway before fiercely glaring at the woman who called him uncle. It doesn't matter, Long Ruashua said with some disapproval. However, she was thinking about how to get the ginseng out of their mouths. After all, Qingju had given her a mission just now, telling her to get the ginseng. Sigh. If only the baby was here. That way, even if she didn't ask, she would know what she wanted. Then we'll take our leave, the middle-aged man said somewhat embarrassedly. Then, he led the group past Long Ruashua and the others and headed towards the depths. Shuer, are you following them? Empty asked softly. He knew that Shuer was probably interested in the fire ginseng. And Long Ruashua nodded. Since she didn't have a chance to get information out of him, she decided to follow behind them to where the fire ginseng might appear. Seeing Long Ruashua nod her head, everyone followed readily behind that group of people, heading deeper into the mountain. After walking for about an hour, Long Ruashua and the others arrived at a cave that was half a person tall. This seemed to be their destination because there were already many people gathered there. Hey, why are you all so shameless? Why are you following us? The woman was no longer calm after seeing Long Ruashua and the others. What a joke. Does the road belong to your family? Only you can walk, but we can't? Besides, there are so many people here. Did they all follow you here? Feng De questioned with a face full of disdain. Meyer, shut up. The middle-aged man growled in anger. Sigh. This niece of his was really too insensible. There were so many people here. How could she have the right to speak? Miss Liu, we arrived here first. At this moment, a young man said with a faint smile. However, his gaze could not help but drift to Long Ruashua. The reason why he said this was to give Long Ruashua a good impression. Haha, Miss Liu, heavenly treasures don't belong to whoever gets there first. Another person echoed. You guys, everyone's strange gazes made Lu Mai's beautiful face turn red. It's all your fault. I really don't know how you seduced them to actually make them stand on your side. Lu Mei raged with jealousy, her face full of anger as she pointed the spearhead at Long Ruashua. Hearing Lu Mai's words, Long Ruashua was depressed. Sigh. What did this have to do with her? Did she get shot while lying down? Women who were burning with jealousy were indeed unreasonable, but this was the first time she had seen this woman. So, she really couldn't understand why this woman was so hostile towards her. Suddenly, Pa! Lu Tao slapped Lu Mai's face, making her dumbfounded. How can you slander my young miss? You really don't know what's good for you. Peach roared in anger, fully displaying her hidden lion-like qualities. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. My dear Lu Tao, does it hurt? You can just kill this kind of woman directly. Why do you have to do it yourself? Feng De took Lu Tao's fair and tender hand and gently blew on it, then said with a face full of heartache. That's true. Lu Tao nodded in agreement. Everyone, I'm really sorry. It's all my fault for not disciplining her properly. Please let Meyer off on my account. The middle-aged man hurriedly pleaded. Even though this niece of his was quite annoying sometimes, he couldn't just watch as these people killed Meyer right in front of him. Uncle, they're just some great mystic cultivators. Why are you begging them? I don't believe they dare to kill me. Lu Mei snapped out of her daze. When she saw her uncle begging Long Ruashua and the others, she instantly felt upset. She couldn't care less about the burning pain on her face and directly shouted, "Shut your mouth." The middle-aged man roared in anger. She really was a blind person. If these people didn't have any backing, would they dare come here to look for the fire ginseng? Looks like your niece doesn't appreciate your kindness. Long Ruashua smiled and said to the middle-aged man, I am truly sorry. Please give me some face and don't lower yourself to her level. She has been spoiled by my brother. The middle-aged man said in a very humble manner, I'm best at educating the daughters of spoiled, arrogant daughters. Do you want me to help you train her? Lung Ruoshua said sincerely. Oh, she really wanted to help. There's no need. It's fine as long as you don't mind her lack of manners. The middle-aged man hurriedly said. Then, he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead without leaving a trace. He couldn't help but feel nervous. The people around you are all so fierce. If Meyer really fell into your hands, that would be great. I'm sorry, I'm being calculative, Lung Ruoshua said coldly. Then, she pulled the demon to a secluded spot and sat down. Ugh, the middle-aged man was speechless. He didn't expect that the other party wouldn't even give him face. Sigh. Schwer, why didn't you let me take action just now? After sitting down, the freak pulled Schwer into his embrace and unhappily said. He had originally wanted to teach that woman a lesson, but he was stopped by a look from Schwer. Now is not the time yet. It would not be too late to teach her a lesson if she is still alive after we obtain the fire ginseng. Lung Ruoshua said with a wicked smile. It was just an insignificant woman, and she did not put her in her eyes at all. However, if they killed Lu Mei in public, even if the middle-aged man did not want to be their enemy, it would be impossible. Furthermore, this would expose their true strength. This would be very disadvantageous for them, who were pretending to be weak to snatch the fire ginseng. Chapter 695, Nian Fire Ginseng 3. Alright. Once we obtain the fire ginseng, we will kill that Lu Mei. The freak gritted his teeth. Humph. She had to be prepared to die since she dared to humiliate Schwer. Schwer, these teams aren't weak. There are a few teams that seem to be determined to obtain the fire ginseng. Empty led everyone over and sat down beside Long Ruoshua as he whispered. No, I must get the fire ginseng. Lung Ruoshua reminded. Why? Empty asked in puzzlement. Schwer had so many natural treasures, so she shouldn't lack a fire ginseng, right? Head butler Qingju gave me a mission. He said that he doesn't have any fire ginseng in his herbs. Lung Ruoshua said helplessly. Oh, that's true. Empty nodded his head. He was very clear about Qingju's herbalism. Miss, the tent is ready. Shall we prepare dinner? Fengda suddenly asked at that time. Yes, I'm going to rest for a while. Long Ruoshua nodded her head before entering the tent. Schwer, do you have another plan? The demon also came in and asked with a mischievous smile. Hee, just now Qingju told me that the fire ginseng is in the cave. Let's go in and take it out. Lung Ruoshua laughed lightly. Then, she summoned Ling Tian and instructed him to cast an invisibility spell on them. The two of them then swaggered into the cave. One couldn't even see their own fingers inside the cave. Lung Ruoshua and the freak held hands as they slowly walked inside. Master, do you want me to light a small flame? Fengzhan, who was standing on Long Ruoxua's shoulder, asked softly. No need, don't alert the guardian beast inside, Long Ruoxua said. Sigh, who knows what kind of guardian beast was inside, causing the people outside to not dare to enter. Qingju also had a serious expression. Oh, Fengzhan responded softly and didn't say anything else to avoid alerting the enemy. As Long Ruoshua and the freak walked on, they realized the fog was getting thicker and thicker. Moreover, there was poison in the fog. Lung Ruoshua quickly took out 3 detoxification pills from her bracelet and gave one each to the freak and Fengzhan. She also took one herself. Then the 3 of them continued to walk inside. Suddenly, dong! Lung Ruoshua kicked something. She subconsciously looked down and realized it was a bone of some unknown creature. Moreover, it wasn't just a bone on the ground. Schwer, be careful. The freak hugged Schwer's waist tightly and reminded. And Lung Ruoshua suppressed the feeling of nausea and continued to walk in with the demon. Finally, after walking for an unknown period of time, The two of them arrived at a spacious stone chamber. The stone chamber before them was so clean that not a single speck of dust could be seen. On top of that, there were no traces of humans living in it at all. Other than a pool, there was nothing else in the stone chamber. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. The two of them came to the side of the pool and saw that it was filled with fiery red crystals. In the middle of the crystals was a palm-sized fire ginseng. At this moment, the small leaves of the fire ginseng were trembling non-stop. It was unknown if it was because of the wind or because of fear. Long Ruoxue looked at the cute little fire ginseng and couldn't help but reach out to touch its leaves. However, she was stopped by the freak. "Be careful. We don't know where the guardian beast is hiding," the freak said cautiously as his bright eyes searched the empty stone room. "Master, this little fellow is afraid." Feng Zhan carefully observed the little fire ginseng before speaking with extreme certainty. "Scared? Could it be that it already has intelligence?" Long Ruoxue guessed with a face full of suspicion. If it really had a spirit, then she could not let this fire ginseng stay here. After thinking for a while, Long Ruoxue directly asked, "Little fire ginseng, if you can understand my words, shake your leaves." As soon as Long Ruoxue finished speaking, the cute leaves of the fire ginseng started to shake violently, as if afraid she would not understand. It seems that it really has intelligence," Long Ruoxue said with joy. A fire ginseng that could produce intelligence, even if it wasn't 10,000 years old, it would be several thousand years old. "Sister, don't eat me." At this time, a childish voice sounded in Long Ruoxue's ears. "Don't worry, I won't eat you. I'm here to help you." Long Ruoxue quickly comforted. "Really? Sister is a good person," the childish voice said happily. "You idiot, how many times have I told you not to trust humans so easily?" A slightly louder childish voice roared with a hint of disappointment. There are good humans too." Long Ruoxue couldn't help but defend the humans. Sigh. Could it be that he's another young nationalist? How can we believe the words of a human? The childish voice said stubbornly. It was obvious that it did not have a good impression of a human. "Little Flame, I believe this sister is a good person," the childish voice said with slight grievance. "In your eyes, is there anything bad?" The little flame roared furiously. "Boo-hoo! Don't cry. Little fire ginseng, is Little Flame your guardian beast?" Long Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. Sigh. This isn't another crybaby. "Yes, I'm too stupid. Little Flame has been the one protecting me," the little fire ginseng said somewhat embarrassedly. Its small leaves shook again. "Humph. You also know that you're stupid." Little Flame roared through gritted teeth. "Boo-hoo. Little Flame is so fierce." The little fire ginseng felt extremely wronged, and its leaves trembled even more violently. "Little Flame, where are you? Come out and let's talk." Long Ruoxue helplessly said to Little Flame when she saw the two little guys fighting again. "Human, I'm here." A fiery red, transparent little head popped out from the middle of the pool's crystal stone just as Little Flame's voice fell. A pair of similarly fiery red eyes stared fixedly at Long Ruoxue. "You're Little Flame?" Long Ruoxue said in disbelief. This little flame was a small snake. However, this small snake was a little too beautiful. Its entire body was fiery red in a transparent shape. It looked like a glass-type jade, sparkling and translucent. Moreover, it was small and exquisite. No matter how one looked at it, it looked cute. Chapter 696. Nian fire ginseng, 4. In this stupid fire ginseng's companion beast, Little Flame said with slight dissatisfaction. Even though it didn't know how these two people broke through the poisonous fog it set up and entered this stone room, since these two people could enter, then they probably could only surrender. Who asked it to promise that stupid fire ginseng? I'm not stupid. Boo-hoo! Before Long Ruoxue could say anything, she saw a fat child suddenly appear in front of her, and the freak and rebutted Little Flame's words. Boo-hoo! He could call himself stupid, but not Little Flame. This fat child was about a year old. He was a little clumsy, fair and fat. He had a pair of big eyes that were as bright as black grapes. His long eyelashes were like two small fans that protected his clear eyes in the middle. He was only wearing a red belly band and had a small braid on his head. He looked very likable. You are? Long Ruoxue looked at the fat baby in front of her and was extremely happy. However, she was not sure if this was the legendary ginseng baby. If this little baby was a little fire ginseng, wouldn't he be 10,000 years old? Sister, I'm a small fire ginseng, the chubby baby said in a childish voice. Oh, he liked the smell on this sister's body. It made him want to get close to her. Haha, little fire ginseng is so cute. Long Ruoxue couldn't help but pick up the chubby baby and said happily, Oh, this little fellow is as white and fat as Qingju. However, Qingju is too serious, while this little fellow is as pure as a piece of white paper. Long Ruoxue couldn't help but touch and pinch this cute little guy. Schwer, the freak softly said with slight dissatisfaction. His dark, starry eyes were filled with resentment. Hee. Long Ruoxue laughed awkwardly. Then, she stopped eating its tofu and said seductively, Little fire ginseng, it's not safe here. You'll be discovered at any time. Why don't you leave with me? After Long Ruoxue finished speaking like a big bad wolf, trying to abduct Little Red Riding Hood, she stopped talking and waited quietly for the little guy to make a decision. After hearing Long Ruoxue's words, Little Fire Ginseng's eyes met with the little red snake's. They looked at each other, then nodded their cute little heads and said, I believe sister is a good person. I'm willing to leave this place with elder sister. Woman, you are not allowed to bully the little fire ginseng, and you are not allowed to eat it. Little Red Snake warned with a sharp gaze after hearing the little fire ginseng's words. Even though its strength was not high, the poison in its body could even poison a mystic supremacy to death. How could Big Sister bear to eat such a cute little doll? 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Long Ruoxue's forehead as she speechlessly said, However, she quite admired the little red snake's protective behavior. It's best if you don't. Remember what you said. Otherwise, I won't let you off even if I die, said the little red snake fiercely. Then, it showed its sharp fangs in a show of force to prove that what it said was true. Haha, I love cute little animals and little children the most. Long Ruoxue handed the little fire ginseng to the freak, then lifted the little red snake with her hand and guaranteed. Actually, she did not really like snakes. However, this little snake was so beautiful that it was impossible not to love it. Looking at the sparkling and translucent fiery red snake, Long Ruoxue couldn't help but reach out a finger to stroke the snake's body. It was cool and soft. It felt good to touch. Woman, don't touch me. Little red snake growled shyly, as if its entire body was on fire. Long Ruoxue's hand trembled and 2 black lines appeared on her forehead. Could it be that snakes were also shy? And this little snake was obviously shy. Haha, elder sister, little fire ginseng is embarrassed, the little fire ginseng said very honestly. However, it received a big eye roll from little red snake. Oh haha, elder sister will bring you to a good place. Long Ruoxue saw that the little fellow was really shy, so she kindly stopped teasing them. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. What kind of good place? The little fire ginseng asked curiously. You'll know when you get there. You'll definitely like it there. Lung Ruashue said with a mysterious expression. After that, with a thought, she brought the freak and the three little guys into the bracelet. After entering the bracelet, the little fire ginseng and the little red snake looked at everything in front of them with their mouths agape. They blinked their eyes hard. After confirming that everything in front of them was not an illusion, they all stared at Long Ruashue in disbelief and said in unison, "Where is this?" "Hee hee. Welcome our new members." Before Long Ruashue could reply, Qingju appeared in front of them. The little black dog and Horror also appeared with him. You're also a sprite." The little fire ginseng stared with its big bright eyes and said with a face full of surprise. Even though it could not tell what the little baby and the little black dog, which were about the same size as itself, were, it could tell at a glance that the little red kitten was also a sprite. Yes, I am Mommy's darling. My name is Horror," Horror said proudly. Then, she jumped into Long Ruakshu's arms and rubbed against her affectionately. Elder sister is your mother? But sister is clearly a human." The little fire ginseng blinked its big eyes, its cute little face full of question marks. "That's right. She's my mother. The first person I saw when I opened my eyes was her," Little Flame said proudly. "You are so lucky," said the little fire ginseng enviously. He knew that his sister was a good person. "Stupid fire ginseng. You're looking down on me." The little red snake was unhappy upon hearing the little fire ginseng's words. This was because the first creature it saw when it opened its eyes was it. No. Little Flame is the best," the little fire ginseng hurriedly said. At least you know your place," Little Red Snake said arrogantly. "Haha, the two of you are so cute. By the way, little fire ginseng, how did you get discovered?" Lung Ruashue asked in confusion. Since little fire ginseng had a companion beast and had cultivated to human form, logically speaking, it shouldn't be discovered. It's all this fool's fault. He went to save someone out of the goodness of his heart, but his good intentions were not rewarded. "He was targeted," said Little Red Snake angrily. Chapter 697. Expensive Entry Fees 1. After Long Ruashue heard Little Red Snake's words, her gaze turned towards the depressed little fire ginseng. Not long ago, someone broke into the cave and was injured by the poisonous fog. I gave him a ginseng root, and he promised us that he wouldn't reveal our whereabouts. However, I didn't expect, the little fire ginseng explained, but its voice became softer and softer. "Idiot! How can you believe the words of a human?" Little Flame roared angrily, its face full of disappointment. "There are good humans too. Elder sister is one." Little Fire Ginseng explained softly. "Of course there are good people among humans, but the problem is, Little Fire Ginseng, your temptation towards humans is too great." So, Lung Ruashue stopped halfway. She believed Little Fire Ginseng would understand. "Sister, I know my own value. I don't dare to be nosy anymore. Hee, can we live here in the future?" Little Fire Ginseng asked expectantly. "Of course. From now on, this will be your home." Lung Ruashue looked at the sensible Little Fire Ginseng and said with heartache, "Thank you, sister." The Little Fire Ginseng said happily, "Woman, I can also live here?" Little Red Snake could not help but confirm. "Yes." Lung Ruashue nodded. Since this Little Red Snake was the Little Fire Ginseng's companion beast, it definitely wouldn't be willing to part with it. "Thank you, woman. Those flame crystals outside are good stuff. Don't forget to take them," reminded Little Red Snake. "Okay." Lung Ruashue nodded. Hee, Little Snake, I was wondering why there weren't any flame crystals in such a huge volcano. So it was you guys who collected them. Oh right, do you have the flame crystal core? At this moment, Fengzhan, who was on Long Ruox's shoulder, asked. Yes, there's one. It's buried under those fire crystals. Little Red Snake nodded and said, Hee hee, this is really great. Fengzhan said happily. Master's luck was really good. She actually found another fire crystal core. Qingju, bring the two little ones around. I'm going out first, Long Ruoxue instructed. After speaking, she brought the freak out of the bracelet. After the two of them left the bracelet, they stored all the flame crystals in the pool into the bracelet. They then walked back the way they came. At this time, the teams outside the cave had already started to eat dinner. Fengda and the others had also finished preparing dinner and were waiting for Long Ruoxue and the freak. Long Ruoxue and the freak returned to the tent and removed their invisibility. Empty's voice suddenly sounded behind them. Where did you guys go? We went to look for the fire ginseng. Long Ruoxue smiled. You two baddies, you went to look for the fire ginseng but didn't call me along. Empty said with a bitter face. Hee hee, isn't it inconvenient? There are so many people outside. If the three of us enter the same tent and don't leave for a long time, there might be rumors spreading. Long Ruoxue helplessly said. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Calm, thanks. What's there to be afraid of? If anyone dares to say anything, just kill them. Empty said indifferently. Humph. He didn't care about those people outside at all. Ugh. Cold sweat dripped down Long Ruox's forehead. He was getting more and more violent. Schwer, have you found the fire ginseng? Empty continued to ask. And Long Ruoxue nodded happily. Where is it? Let me take a look. I heard from the people outside that the fire ginseng seems to have developed intelligence. Empty said with a face full of excitement and swept away his previous resentment. Empty, it's not like you haven't seen a sprite before. Is there a need to be so excited? The freak said helplessly. I've never seen a fire ginseng before. Empty said matter-of-factly. Oh, here you go. Long Ruoxue smiled wickedly as she moved the little fire ginseng out of the bracelet and into Empty's arms. Schwer, what's this? What I want to see is a fire ginseng. Why did you give me a child? Empty said in shock. Boo-hoo. He did not know how to carry a child. Empty did not know how to let go looking at the innocent child in his arms. You guys look like father and son. The freak teased when he saw Empty panicking. Which family is this child from? Don't tell me you guys gave birth to him? Isn't this speed a little too fast? Empty didn't want to be outdone and retorted hearing the freak's teasing. Humph. He couldn't watch him make a fool of himself, but the little child in her arms was too soft and tender. He didn't even dare to use too much strength. Unfortunately, we didn't give birth to him, the freak said with a face full of pity. Could it be that you kidnapped him? Empty guessed. Oh, it was very possible. Sister is a good person. I left with her willingly. Little fire ginseng couldn't help defending Long Ruoxue. Oh. Empty looked at Long Ruoxue with a strange expression, feeling even more admiration for her. He's that fire ginseng, Long Ruoxue explained. Sigh. She didn't want Empty to think too much. Doesn't that mean you are at least 10,000 years? Empty said in surprise. And the small fire ginseng nodded. Actually, it was more than 10,000 years old. Haha. Schwer, your luck is so good that there's nothing to say about it. Empty said enviously. Sigh. He really did not know what to say. Let's go out first. Long Ruoxue reminded. Everyone was waiting outside. Okay. Wu Jie returned the baby to Long Ruoxue and said. Long Ruoxue placed the little fire ginseng back into her bracelet, and the three of them walked out of the tent. Miss, it's time to eat. Fengda quickly shouted after seeing Long Ruoxue and the other two. And Long Ruoxue and the other two walked to the dining table and sat down. However, they felt many strange gazes on them. "Hey, I'll pay you guys. Sell your food to me." Long Ruoxue had just picked up a piece of roasted meat that was golden and fragrant. She heard an unruly and overbearing voice before she could put it into her mouth. "I'm sorry, our food isn't for sale." Long Ruoxue lightly raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the young woman standing in front of them with an arrogant expression. "Damn it, do you know who I am? I'm willing to buy your food because I think highly of you, so don't fail to appreciate my kindness." The woman was livid with rage, and she roared at the top of her lungs. Chapter 698, Expensive Entry Fees 2. "I don't need you to think highly of me," Lung Ruoxue said calmly. "Sigh. I really don't understand why people always like to say, 'Do you know who I am?' You don't refuse the face that is given to you." The woman's face was filled with anger as she continued to speak. "Fuck off." Suddenly, Fire Phoenix, who was silently eating roasted meat at the side, roared with a displeased expression. After that, she spat out a mouthful of southern spirit flame at the woman without the slightest trace of politeness, and the woman's body instantly burned with flames. Help. Seeing that her body was on fire, the woman was so frightened that she hurriedly asked for help. Her teammates saw this and hurriedly came forward to help put out the fire. However, no matter what they did, they were unable to put out the fire, and the woman's cries for help grew louder and louder. "Don't be so violent." Seeing that, Lung Ruoxue lightly smiled, then threw out a big water ball. Instantly, with a walla sound, the water ball hit the woman, and the flames on her body coincidentally extinguished. After the fire was put out, the frightened woman stood rooted to the ground in a daze. She did not realize that her entire body had turned red. When she came back to her senses, she suddenly realized that everyone was looking at her strangely. At the same time, she realized that she was naked. The woman ran into her tent and refused to come out. "You're much more violent than me." After that woman ran away, the Fire Phoenix couldn't help but feel uneasy in its heart. Actually, its flames just now were just to scare that woman. Even if it didn't extinguish her flames, she wouldn't die, and after extinguishing her flames, she would definitely be exposed. Hee. After Long Ruoxue and the others killed the chicken to warn the monkeys, those who originally had the same thoughts as the woman no longer dared to step forward. Instead, they resigned themselves to their fate and began to eat the rations they brought. However, their hearts were bleeding. Woo, they were all camping, but why was it that others could only eat hot food while they could only eat dry rations? This was too unfair. After eating, everyone should rest early. Lung Ruoxue ignored everyone's gazes and calmly said to Fengde and the rest, "Yes, yes." Fengde and the others nodded. After dinner, Lung Ruoxue and the others returned to their tents, while the Fire Fox couple volunteered to keep watch. The next morning, the moment Long Ruoxue and the freak came out of the tent, they felt a gaze filled with hatred. "Schwer, looks like someone is seeking death." The freak glanced at the lady who had left yesterday and laughed softly. "I don't mind them fighting each other," Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Her beautiful eyes lightly swept across everyone present. "Humph." If these people were too greedy, then next year's day would be their death anniversary. Yesterday, she had already understood from the little red snake's mouth that after they left the cave, the poisonous fog that had gathered in the cave would automatically disperse. After one night, the poisonous fog would most likely be gone. And once these people found out about the situation inside, they would probably lose their minds and rush in. "Miss, breakfast is ready." At this time, Fengde walked over and reminded her. Lung Ruoxue pulled the freak to the table and sat down. Just as she took a few mouthfuls of porridge, she suddenly heard someone shouting, "The poisonous fog has dissipated." When everyone heard that, they couldn't care less about the rations in their hands and quickly stood up excitedly. Only Lung Ruoxue and the others were still calmly eating the food in their hands. "You really are an idiot. You shouted so loudly. Doesn't that mean everyone knows?" said the fire phoenix, who was eating with a face full of disdain. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Calm, thanks. Even if he doesn't call out, others will still know. Lung Ruoxue understood. There were so many people here, yet there was only one entrance. It was impossible to avoid others entering, unless they could also hide themselves. "Didn't you guys also want the fire ginseng? Why aren't you going in?" Suddenly, Lu Mai's voice sounded. "Are you blind? We are having breakfast. Can't you see that?" Feng De said unhappily. "Hee, we don't need to trouble Miss Lu. However, if you don't go in and your team obtains the fire ginseng, you won't have anything to do with it," Lung Ruoxue reminded. From the corner of her eye, she could already see several teams enter the cave, including Lu Mai's team. "Well, definitely get the fire ginseng," Lu Mei said confidently. With that said, she followed her team into the cave. "Miss, why don't we just kill her?" Feng De made a throat-slitting gesture and said, "That woman was really annoying. She always wanted to find trouble with his Mississippi. He really didn't know how his miss had offended her." "Feng De, we are law-abiding children. How can we just casually kill people? Furthermore, even if we don't make a move, she might not be able to leave this place alive," Lung Ruoxue said sincerely. "Oh, we cannot develop a bad habit of killing people." 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down from Feng Da's forehead. He thought to himself, is there a law in this world? Which law isn't determined by the strong? After all, this is a world where the strong reign supreme. "Miss, are we going in later?" The male fire fox couldn't help but snicker when he saw Feng De being humiliated. Then, he asked curiously, "Eat first. Food is the most important thing for the people. Nothing is more important than food." Lung Ruoxue half-ordered. "Yes," replied the male fire fox. Then, he started eating the roasted meat in front of him. After breakfast, more than half an hour had passed. At this time, only their team was left outside the cave. Seeing that there was no one around, Lung Ruoxue willed everyone and the beast into her bracelet. "Sister." Feeling Lung Ruoxue's little fire ginseng, she ran over with her chubby little legs and threw herself into Lung Ruoxue's arms. "Shuer, whose child is this?" Lung Qingtian widened his eyes and asked in disbelief. "When did the space have another baby?" "Haha, grandfather. He's the fire ginseng. From now on, he'll be called Sin, Lung Ruoxue explained with a smile. She hadn't even had the chance to report to her grandfather and the others that she had abducted the fire ginseng. Chapter 699. Expensive Entry Fee 3. "Miss, you are too awesome," Feng De said with a face full of admiration. His admiration for his miss was like the endless waves of a river. Could this be the legendary ginseng baby? It's really too cute. Come, let Big Brother hug it. Lung Ruhan's handsome face was full of love as he said, and took the small fire ginseng from Lung Ruoxue's hands. "The smell on Big Brother's body is also very nice," the little fire ginseng said sweetly. His cute little appearance quickly won everyone's affection and love. "Come, let Grandpa hug you too." Lung Qingtian also started fighting with his grandson. When Lung Qingtian was done hugging them, Feng De and the others started fighting for more. "Little fire fox, do you have a name? Lung Ruoxue saw that everyone was fighting to contact little fire ginseng, so she turned her gaze to the fire fox couple and asked, Miss, we don't have a name. The fire fox couple looked at each other and said in unison, Oh, then the male fire fox will be called Huoyin from now on, and the female fire fox will be called Huoshi from now on. Lung Ruoxue thought for a while and said, she couldn't call them all little fire. She already had a little fire, and with the addition of the little fire ginseng, she also called that little red snake little flame. If there were too many little fires, she wouldn't know who she would be addressing. Thank you for granting us a name, young miss. The two fire foxes happily said, Woman, I don't have a name either. Little red snake crawled onto Long Ruoxue's wrist and said with a bitter expression, Aren't you called Little Flame? Lung Ruoxue said with a slight headache, Boo-hoo. It was tiring to come up with a name. Moreover, she felt it was quite good to have one little fire and one little flame. Can that be considered a name? I don't care. You have to give me a nice name, said the little red snake domineeringly. Why don't we call you Fireball? Lung Ruoxue probed. She really couldn't think of anything else. I don't look like a ball. The little red snake glared at him with displeasure. I think it's better to call it Hot Pot, the freak said lightly. When Lung Ruoxue heard the freak's words, a few black lines rolled down her forehead. She secretly laughed to herself. Who would call a beast a hot pot? Hee. No. Little red snake frowned and objected. The name was really unpleasant even though it did not know what hot pot was. You should call yourself Little Flame for now. They'll change it when I think of a good name, Lung Ruoxue suggested. This little fellow was too hard to serve, so she had to coax him. All right then. The little red snake nodded in dissatisfaction. Sister, I don't have a name either. The little fire fox, who had been lying in its mother's arms, whispered, Aren't you called Little Fox? That's a nice name. Lung Ruoxue hurriedly cajoled. Boo-hoo. The heavens can judge. She really didn't want to give names anymore. It was even more tiring than cultivating a profound technique. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Oh. The little fire fox nodded obediently and stopped making things difficult for Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue felt a little guilty seeing how sensible the little fire fox was. However, she quickly turned her gaze to the fire phoenix and asked, Little fire phoenix, you should have a name. The fire phoenix, who was looking around and sizing up the surroundings, nodded and said after hearing Lung Ruoxue, My name is Feng Miao. After it finished speaking, it continued to size her up and was secretly shocked. On this side, Feng Miao and the other beasts were busy touring the space while Long Qingtian and the others were all fighting to carry the little fire ginseng. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but shake her head helplessly when she saw this. Then she said to the freak and Empty, Let's go out and take a look. The two nodded, and the three of them left the bracelet. After leaving the bracelet, the three of them entered the cave. The light in the cave was still dim. Even though the fog had dissipated, the smell of blood filled the entire cave. Lung Ruoxue covered her nose and hung on the freak's arm. The three of them arrived at the stone room where the little fire ginseng used to live. In the stone room, other than the corpse on the ground, there was no one else breathing. It could be seen how intense the battle was not long ago, especially the pool where the little fire ginseng was planted. It was packed with people. Unfortunately, the person who obtained the little fire ginseng in the end also died because he was too heavily injured. However, before he died, his hand was still tightly holding the half of the little fire ginseng that didn't have much use. Truly, humans die for wealth, birds die for food. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but sigh. If it wasn't for their greed, these people wouldn't have all died here. Unfortunately, the little fire ginseng had already given birth to a sprite, and its true essence was all in the little fire ginseng's body. So, that old fire ginseng didn't have much use anymore. I wonder if those people would die aggrieved if they found out that what they were snatching over was useless. Schwer, is this Lume? Empty, who was wandering around, suddenly asked. And Lung Ruashue and the freak came to the side of Empty. They looked at the woman who was lying on the ground with her face almost completely disfigured and nodded. Oh, she was right. This Lume did not survive. It seems like these dogs are quite fierce, the freak said in a good mood. The woman who had humiliated Schwer had died, which saved him a lot of trouble. The three of them looked around casually and found another familiar corpse not far away. It was the woman who was burned red by Feng Miao's flames. Schwer, looks like we don't need to do anything. Empty smiled and said, Oh, the charm of the fire ginseng is really not small. Yes, we can leave now. After Long Ruashue finished speaking, the three of them left the cave. After leaving the cave, Long Ruashue and the others wandered around the fiery mountain for a few days and collected all the herbs nearby. Then, everyone left the fiery mountain excitedly. Lung Ruashue and the rest went south of the fiery mountain. 3 days later, they arrived at the nearest small city, Shadow City. Schwer, even though this Shadow City is small, no one dares to look down on it. Standing outside the Shadow City, the little old man looked at the city wall that was half the height of a person and said mysteriously, Why? As expected, Long Ruakshu's curiosity was piqued, and she asked, Miss, the entrance fee for Shadow City is very expensive. Even a mystic supremacy would not be allowed to enter if you don't pay up. A sexy and beautiful woman next to Long Ruashue spoke. This beauty was none other than Feng Miao, who Feng Da and the others called a shrew. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.